The next day, what's taking them so long? Should be here any minute. Wyatt and Leo stood at the entrance to the apartment complex, each gripping a large duffel bag stuffed with winter bedding, their eyes fixed on the far end of the street. The minutes ticked by. Leo's face fell. You don't think they bailed, do you? Probably not. Probably not. Can't you be a little more certain? Wyatt shrugged. I'll give them a call. He really didn't think it was a big deal. He'd just confessed his feelings, that's all. It shouldn't have caused this much drama, right? He was starting to get worried when they're here, Leo shouted, pointing excitedly at a familiar Lexus minivan pulling up. The van stopped at the curb. Wyatt greeted Chloe's mom, Rebecca, first. Leo, knowing the drill, slid into the passenger seat, leaving the back for Wyatt and Chloe. Chloe didn't even glance at Wyatt. Her eyes were glued to the view out the opposite window. Once the van was moving at a steady speed, Wyatt saw that Chloe was determined to ignore him. He gently hooked her pinky finger with his. Chloe's brow furrowed, and she snatched her hand away. Undeterred, Wyatt tried again, hooking her little finger. This time, she lifted her hand and swatted the back of his. Wyatt switched tactics. He reached out and tugged the corner of her shirt. When she finally turned to look at him, he propped 2 fingers on his thigh, making them walk like a pair of legs. Then, he bent the knuckles, mimicking a person kneeling in apology. Combined with the pathetic puppy dog look on his face, the trick worked instantly. A laugh almost escaped Chloe's lips. Seeing his chance, Wyatt lunged to take her hand. But Chloe just pursed her lips and pointed a single, imperious finger at him, her expression that of a petulant princess. Her eyes screamed, I'm warning you. Don't you dare touch my hand again. Wyatt could only sigh and retreat, feigning defeat. What neither of them knew was that their entire silent drama of micro-expressions and gestures had been observed by Rebecca in the rearview mirror. She couldn't believe how much their relationship had progressed in just a month. Is this the same Chloe I know? She wondered. And just how did this Wyatt kid manage it? They were running a little late, so after getting out, the 3 of them rushed into the station. They had just reached the waiting hall when the boarding announcement for their train began. They hurried onto the Amtrak. It was only after they were on board that Wyatt broke the news to Leo. He'd only managed to get 2 adjacent seats. When they reached their car, Leo shot Wyatt a mournful look before slumping into a seat in the row ahead. Wyatt and Chloe, once again, sat side by side. As soon as they were settled, Wyatt leaned close to Chloe's ear and whispered, Are you mad at me? No, she said, a little too stubbornly. You didn't text me back last night. I fell asleep. But you look exhausted. I want to get some sleep. Chloe gave a slight nod. Wyatt leaned back and patted his own shoulder. You can lean on me, he offered with a smile. She shot him a glare and turned her head to face the other way. Just then, a college-age girl stopped next to their row, struggling to lift her suitcase into the overhead rack. Hey, where are you headed? Wyatt asked. NYC. Oh, cool. My friend is in this row, in the window seat. Would you be willing to swap with him? The girl asked. Is he going to NYC too? Yep. She readily agreed. She'd already noticed Wyatt had a girlfriend, and her own seat was on the aisle. A window seat was a definite upgrade. Wyatt helped her with her bag and walked over to Leo. Leo, my man, your chariot awaits. This young lady has agreed to a trade. Leo, pleasantly surprised, grabbed his stuff and hurried over to the seat next to Wyatt's. After helping the girl get her luggage stowed, Wyatt returned to his own seat. It was a 5-hour trip, plenty of time to kill. Leo, true to form, immediately started playing games on his phone. But once the train entered the more rural, mountainous areas, the signal died. He resorted to scrolling through some trashy clickbait articles on his browser, grumbling as he read. Man, I can't even afford a damn Spotify subscription, so why do they keep showing me these long-ass ads for luxury crap I'll never buy? Wyatt explained, luxury ads are designed for people who can't afford the products. That way, when people who can afford them use them, the people who can't will recognize the brand. Whoa, no way. What are you reading? The new Game of Thrones book is taking forever, so I'm just looking for something that's actually finished. What are you reading these days? In 2014, with 4G just becoming widespread, reading on your phone was still a primary source of entertainment for guys their age. Wyatt shrugged. Not much lately, but the character that left the biggest impression on me is probably Christian Grey. Leo rolled his eyes and went back to some generic fantasy series on his phone. Wyatt checked his stock portfolio, scanning the latest news and relying on the fragmented memories in his head. He sold off a few mediocre performers and reinvested the cash into a couple of other promising stocks. An hour later, Chloe seemed to have fallen asleep against the back of her seat. She was wearing a loose, white t-shirt with block letters, the hem tucked into a military green, straight-cut skirt. She looked effortlessly elegant and sweet. Since she was sleeping upright, Her head bobbed every time the train swayed. Wyatt called her name softly a couple of times. When she didn't respond, he reached around the back of her neck, gently guiding her head to rest on his shoulder. He held his position, closing his eyes to rest as well. As the train passed through a tunnel, plunging the car into darkness, Chloe secretly cracked her eyes open. Just before they emerged back into the light, she quickly shut them again. Around 1 in the afternoon, Wyatt tilted his head slightly, inhaling the faint scent of her hair. "Hungry," he whispered. "Want to get something to eat?" He'd known she was awake the whole time. Chloe mumbled a soft "mshum" and slowly lifted her head. She couldn't bring herself to look at him, her cheeks burning as she stared out the window. Wyatt pulled 3 cup noodles from his bag, woke Leo up, and the two of them went to get hot water. "Which flavor do you want?" "Pour." Wyatt unfolded the tray table in front of her, placed the steaming cup on it, and added a reminder, "Careful, it's hot." Chloe fished a hair tie out of her pocket, but as she went to tie up her hair, it slipped from her fingers and fell to the floor. Wyatt quickly bent down and picked it up, but instead of handing it back, he gathered her long, silky black hair and, with a surprisingly practiced motion, tied it up for her. Flustered, Chloe quickly peeled back the lid of her noodles. A cloud of steam billowed up, perfectly concealing the blush that had spread across her face. The train pulled into Penn Station at 2:30 in the afternoon. The three of them grabbed their luggage and transferred to the subway. Wyatt and Chloe got off after 6 stops, while Leo had to switch to the L train midway to get back to his campus. Wyatt walked Chloe to the entrance of her dorm. "Well, I'm heading back," he said, giving a small wave. Chloe hesitated, her eyes darting away as her lips trembled slightly. After a long moment, she finally managed, "Be safe." What she wanted to say was, "Make sure you text me tonight," but the word got stuck in her throat, too embarrassing to say out loud. She forced down her shyness and settled for the formal-sounding farewell. Wyatt smiled. "I'll message you when I get back to campus. You won't ignore me like you did last night, right?" Chloe was instantly reminded of his text from the other night. "So, want to be my girlfriend?" And a faint blush crept back in her cheeks. She quickly looked down and hurried into the dorm building. Wyatt chuckled to himself and turned to head back to his own university. By the time he got back to his dorm, it was already past 4. The thought of buying a car was screaming in his head. The fresh market was doing well, but for Wyatt, the money was coming in too slow. The business had stabilized. As long as it kept running on the current model, it was basically a cash machine. He started wondering if he should develop another source of income. Relying on the market alone was just too slow. "Hey, Sam, are the other guys back?" Wyatt asked as he walked into the shop. "Alex got back this morning," Sam said. "He's out on a delivery run right now." "What's with him? Why is he so motivated today?" "The RAs are still gone for the holiday break. He heard it was a big order for one of the girls' dorms, so he basically volunteered to deliver it himself." Wyatt laughed. "What a dog." Sam smiled along with him. "Wyatt, do you want to go over the sales numbers for the break?" "No need. I trust you completely. Don't use people you doubt, and don't doubt people you use." Wyatt had seen Sam's character clearly from the first day of school. A guy like him would never pull a fast one over something like this. Hearing those words, a warmth spread through Sam's chest. To him, a single, "I trust you completely," was worth more than 1,000 empty promises of brotherhood. After the holiday break, life fell back into a routine. The freshmen were finally settling into university life. Thursday, like Monday, had no 8 a.m. class, but Wyatt, now in the habit, was up early. Sam was already awake, silently reviewing English vocabulary. He had a major proficiency exam coming up in 2 months. To avoid disturbing his sleeping roommates, he was mouthing the words soundlessly. Wyatt glanced over at him, then decided to wake up Chris and Alex. Chris got up without much fuss, but Alex just grumbled. "Dude, it's barely 7. We don't have an early class." "Why are you up?" "Let's go shoot some hoops," Wyatt suggested. "We won't have time this evening." "I'm down," Chris said. At the mention of basketball, Alex finally sat up. "You two are no match for me. In high school, they call me the Kobe of Northwood High." Wyatt had played a lot of basketball in high school. Back then, without smartphones, there wasn't much else to do. A few years before, the main pastimes for high schoolers were basketball and ping pong, unlike now, when it was all about League of Legends and Call of Duty. In his past life, the grueling work and immense pressure after graduation had taken a toll on his health. After being reborn, Wyatt placed a huge premium on his physical well-being. The three of them washed up, changed into athletic shorts, and headed to the campus courts. There were many people playing this early. Some hoops only had 1 or 2 guys practicing their shots. It was hard to even get a full team together. Wyatt's group didn't have a ball, so they had to find someone to play with. "What if they don't want to play with us?" "That'd be so awkward," Alex worried. Just as he finished speaking, Wyatt spotted a familiar face on the court. He led Chris and Alex over. Trevor, man. Got room for 3 more. The familiar face was none other than Trevor, a senior Amber had known from high school and the head of the Student Arts Committee. Being called out by name made Trevor light up. Wyatt wasn't in any student clubs, so he had no obligation to be so friendly. He could have just called him by his first name. In college, calling someone by their title was a bit formal. Once you were friends, you just used names. Yeah, for sure, Trevor said with a grin. You guys have 3, perfect. We can run a half-court game. Let's do it. Trevor and his 2 friends started a 3v3 game against Wyatt's crew. At first, Wyatt was rusty. It had been too long since he'd touched a basketball, and his feel for the ball was off. Chris, however, was a decent player with a pretty reliable shot. Alex was all talk. The Kobe of Northwood High was at best a guy who knew the rules, but his skills were average. A strange thought crossed Wyatt's mind. I wonder what Alex's reaction would be if I told him Kobe was going to die in an accident in 2020. Since his rebirth, Wyatt had never considered changing history. It was a thought he would keep to himself. On the court, Wyatt slowly rediscovered his old touch for layups. As he reacclimated to his 18-year-old body, he quickly became the most dazzling player on the court. Floaters, hook shots, even difficult reverse layups. He was becoming more and more unstoppable. On the sidelines, a girl suddenly pointed at the court. Amber, look, it's your friend Trevor, and that guy from the welcome show, Wyatt. Amber hadn't been paying much attention, but at the mention of his name, she whipped her head around. It was at that exact moment. Wyatt drove for a 3-step layup, and right in front of a defender, he pulled off a stylish hang-time reverse. Amber was mesmerized. You guys go on to the dining hall, she told her friends. I'm going to watch them play. You're not eating breakfast? It's fine, I got a vitamin water. Her 3 roommates left together, and Amber walked over to the court. At first, no one noticed she was there. It was Chris who saw her first and gave the others a quiet heads up. Only then did Wyatt and Alex look over. Amber smiled and waved playfully, giving them a cute little greeting. Alex was instantly fired up. Pass it to me, he hissed, giving Wyatt and Chris frantic looks. Wyatt obliged, feeding him the ball several times. But Alex couldn't deliver, making only one of the 5 or 6 shots he took. They played for a long time before Chris finally said, We have class later. We should probably head back and shower. Wyatt nodded. On the last play, instead of passing to Alex, he pulled up from behind the 3-point line. He rose, shot, and the ball sailed through the air in a perfect arc before falling through the hoop. Nothing but net. That was amazing. Amber clapped excitedly, as if her own boyfriend had just made the winning shot. Alex looked resentful. Chris nudged him in the back. Don't sweat it, man. You wouldn't have made that shot anyway. Seeing they were done, Amber jogged over. She stopped in front of Wyatt, a bright smile on her face. Wyatt, you're so good at basketball. I'm all right. Want a drink? Amber offered him the vitamin water she was holding. Wyatt didn't take it. He made an excuse. That won't cut it. I need to go buy some actual water. All right. Watching this scene unfold, Alex's heart shattered into a million pieces. Years from now, if someone were to ask him, what was the worst injury you ever suffered on a basketball court? He would undoubtedly say, watching the girl I liked walk across the court on a hot day to give my roommate a bottle of water. No one noticed, but as Amber was offering Wyatt the drink, the campus queen, Jessica Evans, happened to walk past the basketball courts. She didn't stop, just glanced over for a moment before continuing on her way to the dining hall. Wyatt and his 2 roommates headed back the way they came, stopping at their shop to buy 3 bottles of water. Chris complained offhandedly, This is so inconvenient. We have to walk so far just to buy a bottle of water. Alex didn't respond. He was still stewing. Why didn't you give Wyatt the drink and not me? Wyatt already has a girlfriend. I'm the one who's been texting her. Why did she act like I didn't even exist back there? But Chris's comment sent Wyatt's mind racing. That's right. How are vending machines not a thing everywhere yet? In just a few years, you'd see them everywhere. In schools, internet cafes, tourist spots, any public place. Which meant that, right now, this was a business opportunity. And it didn't seem that hard to pull off. You just had to find the machines and place them in high-traffic areas. Wyatt suppressed his excitement, his mind analyzing the feasibility of the idea. After their morning lecture ended, Wyatt dragged Chris to the dining hall. Once they got their food and sat down, Wyatt leaned in conspiratorially. Chris, I just thought of another way to get rich. So that's what you were doing during class? Daydreaming about your next big idea? Yep, let's hear it. Vending machines, Wyatt said. Chris's brow furrowed. Vending machines? Exactly, Wyatt continued. I just looked it up online. There are already companies selling them. A basic machine is only $200 or $300. A higher-end one is maybe $500. They can sell drinks, water, even condoms. If we put them in places with a lot of people, the profits could be huge. Chris quickly identified the key issue. But to put them on campus, we'd need the university's permission, right? That would fall under campus services and operations, Wyatt said. If you think this is a good idea, I'll go talk to the director. How much capital do you think this would take? Chris asked. For the first phase, a few $1,000s should be enough. We'll pilot it at our school first. If it actually makes money, we can replicate it at other universities. That's when it would require a much larger investment. If you can get the director of campus services on board, Chris said, I'm in. Deal. I'll go talk to Director Evans this evening. How do you know the director's last name is Evans? I looked it up on the school's website. Wyatt took a couple of bites of his food. After we eat, come with me to a specialty tobacco and wine shop. Chris was puzzled again. What for? To buy a gift, obviously. You think I'm going to ask for a favor empty-handed? Inside the shop, Wyatt bought 2 cartons of Marlboros. He was about to buy a bottle of liquor too, but changed his mind. Giving cigarettes and alcohol together felt a little too transactional, too crass. More importantly, a cheap bottle would look bad, and he didn't have the budget for an expensive one. He decided to use the money he would have spent on liquor to buy some high-quality, loose-leaf tea instead. He'd have it packaged nicely. It would look respectable without breaking the bank. After they finished shopping, Chris chuckled. Everyone knows the price of cigarettes, but this tea doesn't even have a brand. What the guy doesn't appreciate it. Then I'll just tell him, smell this tea? That's my New Year's gift to you. Chris knew Wyatt was joking. With Wyatt's people skills, delivering this gift wouldn't be a problem. After handling their errands, they went to their afternoon classes, as usual. When class let out, Wyatt first stopped by the shop, then hopped on his electric scooter with the cigarettes and tea he'd bought earlier. He headed for the administration building to wait for Director Evans from campus services. Carrying the gifts, he knew he couldn't just walk in. Anyone who saw him would know he was there to ask for a favor, which could tarnish the director's reputation. So Wyatt didn't go inside. He sat on his scooter, watching the main entrance from a distance, staking the place out. Time flew by, and the sky began to darken. Just as Wyatt's patience was wearing thin, Director Peter Evans finally came out of the building. Wyatt was about to approach, but he stopped when he saw 2 other university administrators with him. Peter Evans chatted and laughed with his colleagues as they walked to the parking lot. After waving goodbye, he got in his car and drove off. Wyatt didn't give up. He gunned his scooter and followed the car. About 5 or 6 minutes later, the Honda Accord in front of him pulled over to the side of the road. Wyatt's heart leaped. This is my chance. But then, just as the car stopped, he watched as the campus queen, Jessica Evans, got in and sat down in the passenger seat. Wyatt was stunned. Wait, what is going on here? Is this some kind of sugar daddy situation? No way. They're just off campus. It would be too easy to get caught if that was the case. Wyatt muttered to himself, Jessica Evans. Director Evans. They both have the same last name. They could be related. Whatever, I'll just ask. Sitting on his scooter, Wyatt pulled out his phone and shot Jessica a text. Wyatt. Hey, campus queen, you there? Jessica, no. Wyatt. I'm serious. Wyatt. Where are you right now? Jessica. In a car. Wyatt. What's the director of campus services to you? Jessica. My uncle. Jessica. How did you know we were connected? Wyatt. I just saw you get in his car. Wyatt. How about we meet at the fresh market tomorrow at noon? Jessica. Are you going to give me more apples? Wyatt. You got it. Jessica K. Seeing that she'd agreed, Wyatt was thrilled. He couldn't believe the coincidence. Going to see Director Evans by himself would have been presumptuous no matter how he spun it. But if Jessica was willing to make the introduction, the whole thing would be much, much easier. Wyatt rode his scooter back to the dorm. That night, he gave Chloe a heads up. Wyatt, I'm going to be busy this weekend. Is it cool if I come see you next week instead? Chloe K. Wyatt, you're not happy about that? Wyatt, I can come this weekend if you want. Chloe, no. Chloe, you could do your thing. Wyatt, what are you doing right now? Chloe, putting on lotion. Wyatt, lotion? What for? Chloe, to moisturize. Wyatt, where are you putting it? Chloe, my legs. Wyatt, let's video chat so I can see. Chloe, no. Wyatt, come on, Chloe, no. Wyatt, please. Just as Chloe was about to reply, Isabel, who had secretly taken a photo, posted it in their dorm's group chat. She then leaned into Chloe's phone and said, Wyatt, I already sent a picture to the group. Enjoy. Wyatt checked the group chat. Sure enough, Isabel had sent 2 sneaky pictures of Chloe's legs. Wyatt, Isabel, you are a true hero. Isabel, I know. Wyatt, but I was hoping to see more. Isabel, Wyatt, aren't you afraid of getting canceled for being so thirsty? Wyatt, getting canceled is temporary. Being boring is a life sentence. Isabel, you are such a pig. The next day at noon, Wyatt, Chris, and Alex were unloading a new shipment of the market. After 20 minutes of hauling crates, The three of them headed to the dining hall. They each grabbed a chicken cutlet over rice. As they were about to sit down, Chris gave Wyatt a look. Wyatt glanced behind him and saw none other than Jessica Evans. Today she was wearing a pink button-down shirt with high-waisted jeans, a silver bracelet on her wrist, and white sneakers. Her eyes were clear and bright, her long eyelashes as thick and curled as a doll's. She was, as always, the most dazzling person in the room. The moment he saw her, Wyatt picked up his tray and walked right over. Alex was dumbfounded. "What the hell are you doing? Who acts that brazenly?" Just then, Jessica noticed Wyatt approaching. "Can we talk?" Wyatt asked with a smile. "Eating. Busy," she replied. Wyatt put on his most charming grin. "I'll wait. Suit yourself." And just like that, Wyatt brazenly sat down across from her. He waited patiently as she ate with delicate, slow bites for nearly 20 minutes. The second she finished, he eagerly took her tray to the dish return cart for her. Jessica's three roommates assumed she had yet another suitor. They exchanged knowing glances but said nothing. After all, since freshman year, Jessica had been surrounded by admirers buzzing around her like bees, but without exception, none had ever succeeded. After leaving the dining hall, Wyatt got straight to the point. "I need you to introduce me to your uncle for a business matter. Name your price, as long as it's not too outrageous." Jessica had already figured Wyatt wanted something related to her uncle when he'd texted her the night before. She cut to the chase. "What do you need my uncle for?" "Well, if you don't tell me, don't even think about me helping you. It's like this." Wyatt began explaining his plan for the vending machine business. "This kind of thing is usually handled by campus services. Your uncle has the authority, so I need his help. Ms. Campus Queen, are you willing to do me this favor?" Jessica listened, then fell into deep thought. Making money was important to Wyatt, but it had always been a goal of hers, too. When she didn't speak for a long time, Wyatt waved a hand in front of her face. "Hello, Earth to Jessica. Say something." She snapped back to reality and gave her answer. "I can take you to see my uncle. I can even put in a good word for you. But I have a condition." "What condition?" "I want it." "What?" Wyatt was stunned. Jessica said, dead serious, "I mean it. I want to join your startup team." "You got to be kidding me." "I'm not kidding. Do you have the money for it?" Wyatt asked. "If I put in $15,000, what percentage of the shares would I get?" 25%. "Deal. It's settled then." As Jessica turned to leave, Wyatt quickly called out, "Aren't you going to the shop to get your apples?" She stopped and said, "You can't do this without me. Don't think you can brush me off with a few apples. But we're about to be partners." "Not yet. Then what do you want?" "Take me to dinner. Someplace nice." "Like actually nice." "No problem," Wyatt said, then pressed. "So when are you going to introduce me to your uncle?" Jessica paused, her back to him, and a small smile played on her lips. "Wait for my text." Back in her dorm room, Jessica's three roommates immediately surrounded her. "Jessica, what did that Wyatt guy want with you?" "Nothing, we just chatted for a bit." "Really? You two look good together." "I think so, too." Jessica laughed. "You're overthinking it. We're friends at most." But what?" Her roommates pressed eagerly. The dimples at the corners of her mouth deepened into a sweet smile. "But we might become business partners." "Business partners?" Her roommates didn't understand, but no matter how much they probed, Jessica wouldn't explain further. That evening, Jessica crouched in the empty dorm hallway, phone in hand. She dialed a number with no name saved. It rang for only 2 seconds before a middle-aged man's voice, thick with emotion, answered. "Vivi, have you eaten? Give me the money my mom left for me." "Vivi, the money your mom left is with your grandmother. Do you need money? I can transfer it to you right now." Hearing this, Jessica hung up the phone. On the other end, a man stared at the disconnected call, a look of despair on his face. This was the first time his daughter had called him since his wife had passed away from illness. It was all because he had remarried the year after, and the person he married was his late wife's best friend. After that, Jessica had moved out of the house and had been living with her grandparents ever since. The father and daughter were like strangers. In a luxury condo in a high-end Manhattan complex, Charles Evans sank onto the sofa, his expression pained. A woman who looked to be in her mid-30s emerged from the bedroom. Seeing him on the sofa, she asked softly, "Was that Vivi?" "Yeah." The woman nestled beside him, her face filled with self-reproach. "Is she still refusing to come home? Should we set a time to have a formal talk with her?" "She doesn't even want to see me." "Then why did she call?" Charles didn't explain. He dialed his brother's number instead. "Peter, is Vivi short on cash recently?" Peter Evans frowned on the other end. "I don't think so. She hasn't mentioned anything about money to me. She just called me out of the blue, asking for the money her mom left her. Can you try to feel her out? See what she needs the money for?" "Sure. But are you planning on letting things stay like this with your daughter forever?" "What can I do?" Charles said, his voice rising with emotion. You know what Vivi's personality is like. He let out a long sigh. It's only natural that she hates me. If I had just paid more attention to her mother back then, she wouldn't have left so soon. Peter said nothing more. He and Charles were brothers, but in this matter, he was an outsider and couldn't say much. Jessica stood on the dorm balcony, her mind drifting back to a childhood memory. It was a golden autumn back in her hometown. Her grandmother, her mother, and she were all nestled together on the bed, singing a very, very old lullaby. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You're telling me the director of campus services is Jessica Evans's uncle? Chris was shocked when he heard the news. Wyatt nodded. Yep. With Jessica making the introduction, this is a sure thing. Tomorrow, we're going to the factory to check out the demo machines. Chris was still baffled. But why would Jessica help us? She wants in on the deal. What? Chris's eyes widened. You mean the campus queen, Jessica Evans, is going into business with us? That was her condition, Wyatt said with a shrug. If I didn't agree, we'd never get a meeting with Director Evans. But she said she can put up $15,000. It's not a bad deal, since we're short on cash anyway. Chris still found it hard to believe. But why does she want to partner with us? We've barely even talked to her. She probably thinks the project can make money. The night passed uneventfully. The next morning, Wyatt took Chris straight to the vending machine factory. The factory produced 3 types of machines. The first was the most basic model, which only dispensed drinks and water. You scanned a QR code to pay, then pressed the button corresponding to your drink, and it would drop down. The second model added some user-friendly features to the first, including a shopping interface that popped up on your phone after scanning. The third was a large-capacity model with a display screen and a refrigeration function. The prices were $150, $300, and $700, respectively. The university had 6 academic buildings. They could put 1 machine near the stairwell on each side of every building. Then another one downstairs in each dorm, plus 1 in the student center, 1 near the basketball courts, 1 by the sports field. Wyatt did a quick calculation. They need to order at least 30 machines for 1 campus. All right, how about this, he said to the factory manager. Give us 20 of the basic models, 10 of the upgraded ones, and 3 of the refrigerated ones. No problem. The total comes to $5,500. Pay a $1,000 deposit now, and I'll have the stock ready for you within a week. We offer free delivery within the city, and we'll have someone show you how to set them up. After spending the morning at the factory, Wyatt received a text from Jessica on the way back. 6 p.m. tonight. The new steakhouse on the 3rd floor of Metro Center Plaza. Wyatt quickly replied. When are you taking me to see your uncle? Jessica. After dinner tonight. Wyatt. Okay, see you then. Jessica. See you. With the time set, Wyatt didn't hang around the shop in the afternoon. He went back to his dorm for a nap. When he woke up, he saw a message from Leo. Leo, you there? Wyatt, for anything but borrowing money I am. Leo, I really want a girlfriend. Leo, set me up with someone. Wyatt, how much do you need to borrow? Leo, I'm so bored in my dorm. I'm coming to your campus to find you tomorrow. Wyatt, sure, come on over. I'm not going to my girlfriend's place this weekend. After resting up all afternoon, Wyatt went to Metro Center Plaza for his dinner meeting. As he stepped out of the elevator, he saw the newly opened steakhouse. The entrance was flanked by floral arrangements, and Jessica was standing at the door waiting for him, a small black leather bag slung over her shoulder. You're early. Jessica lifted her wrist, glanced at her watch, and shot him an annoyed look. You had 2 minutes left. If you were late, I wouldn't have waited. Wyatt scratched his head, smiling a little sheepishly. But I wasn't late, was I? Jessica glanced behind him. Why are you alone? What's wrong with me being alone? Your roommate didn't come with you. Why would they come with me? Jessica stated it plainly. If your girlfriend found out you were having dinner alone with another girl, wouldn't she get jealous? How do you know I have a girlfriend? I saw her giving you water at the basketball court. You misunderstood. She's not my girlfriend, Wyatt said with a laugh. My girlfriend doesn't go to this school. Besides, if you have a clear conscience, you have nothing to fear. What about you? Aren't you afraid people will get the wrong idea? I don't care, Jessica said nonchalantly. The steakhouse was new and had attracted quite a crowd. Luckily, when they went in, there were still a few 2-person tables against the wall. Wyatt and Jessica sat down across from each other, and a waiter quickly brought menus. Jessica pointed to the $1.29.99 set meal. I'll have this. The meal included a steak, a side of pasta, and a small green salad. The price was actually cheaper than Wyatt had expected. He thought Jessica was going to take him to the cleaners. I'll have the same. The waiter nodded and asked with a smile. And how would you like your steaks cooked? Just as Jessica was about to speak, Wyatt cut in. Well done. You were going to say there's no such thing as well done, right? Wyatt said, "It's fine. If your chef doesn't know how, I can go cook it for him. I'm from Abooniz. I can't handle raw stuff." The waiter just smiled and walked away with the menus. "I went to the vending machine factory this morning," Wyatt said. "I already paid the deposit. As soon as we talk to your uncle, the machines can be installed within a week." Jessica raised an eyebrow. "You paid the deposit before you even spoke with my uncle? What if?" Wyatt cut her off. "I trust you. You're my partner now. Even if your uncle doesn't do me a favor, he won't refuse you. Why do I feel like you've tricked me?" "No way. What's in that bag you're carrying?" "Cigarettes and tea. For my uncle." Wyatt nodded. "Yeah, I can't show up empty-handed." Jessica finally asked the question she'd been curious about. "How is it that you seem so mature in these situations? You don't act like a freshman at all. Don't look at me like that. I might get the wrong idea and think you're falling for me." "Huh," Jessica scoffed. "You're so full of yourself." The freshly grilled steaks arrived quickly. The portions were generous. After serving the food, the waiter handed Wyatt a coupon, explaining that for their grand opening, a second visit with the coupon would get them a 50% discount. Wyatt pocketed the coupon and began to devour his steak. Jessica couldn't stand it. "Wyatt, can you please be a little more gentlemanly? You're eating a steak, not gnawing on a rack of ribs. You eat yours, and I'll eat mine. Why are you watching me?" Jessica looked around, suddenly regretting she had come alone. She should have brought her roommates. She forced herself to start eating her steak. After Wyatt finished, he just sat there watching her eat. Jessica started to feel self-conscious. She put down her knife and fork, grabbed her bag, and said huffily, "Let's go." "You're not finished. I'm never eating alone with you again." "Why? It's embarrassing." Leaving Metro Center Plaza, Jessica walked to the curb and hailed a taxi. Wyatt slid into the back seat with her. Seeing him next to her, she said disapprovingly, "The front seat is empty. Why didn't you sit up there?" "I don't know the driver." "You don't know me either," Jessica retorted. Wyatt chuckled. "Aren't we about to be business partners?" Jessica was speechless. She turned her head to look out the other window. The driver, assuming it was a young couple having a spat, twisted around. "Where to, folks?" "Oak Knoll, please." The driver hit the gas. Jessica remained silent during the ride. Not want to press his luck, Wyatt just scrolled through stock prices on his phone. About 20 minutes later, the car stopped at the entrance of a residential community. "Pay him," Jessica said, pushing the door open and getting out. Wyatt dutifully took out his phone and scanned the QR code. Jessica didn't go straight into the community. She waited by the gate for Wyatt. Once he'd paid and gotten out, she started walking inside, and Wyatt hurried to follow, carrying the bag with the cigarettes and tea. They soon arrived at the 5th floor of Building 7. Jessica took a deep breath and knocked on the door. A moment later, a woman in her 40s opened it. Seeing Jessica, her face lit up. "Vivi, you're here. Come in, come in. Have you eaten?" The woman was about to call her husband out when she noticed Wyatt standing behind Jessica. She froze, her eyes scanning him up and down. Then she pulled Jessica aside and whispered, "Boyfriend?" Jessica jumped. "No, he's just a classmate." The woman looked unconvinced. Ever since Jessica's mother passed away, she had always been a loner. She had never brought any friends home, let alone classmates. Peter Evans, who had just gotten home from work, heard the voices and came out from another room. He had been planning to call Jessica over for a visit, and now here she was. He walked over, about to speak, when his wife grabbed his hand and gestured toward the door. Peter saw Wyatt and his eyes went wide. As far as he could remember, this was the first time Jessica had ever brought someone home. And to top it off, it was a boy. Seeing the looks on her aunt and uncle's faces, Jessica knew what they were thinking. She quickly explained, "Let me introduce you. This is Wyatt. He's a freshman in the business program. He needed to talk to Uncle Peter about something, so I brought him here directly." Her aunt, whom Wyatt would come to know as Aunt Carol, quickly found a pair of slippers for him. "Come on in, Wyatt." Only then did Wyatt speak up. "Hello, Director Evans." "Hello, ma'am. And this is?" she asked, nodding at the bag. "Oh, just something I picked up on the way. I felt bad about showing up so unannounced and empty-handed." Peter's expression, however, seemed to say, "Kid, you are indeed unannounced." Aunt Carol, on the other hand, was very welcoming. "Oh, don't be silly. You're a student. You don't need to do all this." Jessica hadn't really spoken to her own father in years, but her Uncle Peter had always been concerned about her, and her Aunt Carol had always treated her well. As a result, Jessica was quite close with them. Even though Jessica was their niece, not their daughter, seeing her bring Wyatt home was still a bit of a shock for Peter. Have a seat, have a seat." Peter sat down on the sofa. Aunt Carol politely asked, "Have you two had dinner?" "We just ate together," Wyatt said with a smile. Jessica shot him a glare. Her eyes seemed to say, We ate fine, but why did you have to say we ate together? Wyatt pretended not to notice. Ahem. Peter cleared his throat and got straight to the point. Wyatt, is it? What can I help you with? Now that they were face to face, the rest would be easier. Wyatt began to methodically lay out his idea of installing vending machines on campus. He spoke as if he had prepared for this for days, his words flowing smoothly and logically. First, I believe that having vending machines on campus would bring a great deal of convenience to the students. Second, it can enhance the university's image and generate additional revenue. Finally, vending machines can provide service for much longer hours than any campus store. After listening, Peter didn't immediately give an answer. He simply asked again, "You're a freshman in the business program?" Yes. Peter was surprised that someone so young could have such a business-savvy mind. Vending machines on campus sounded like a promising venture. But Peter was a university director, long accustomed to speaking in official tones. He took a sip of tea and said slowly, "You're right to come to me with this, but things aren't as simple as you think." Usually, after a line like that, it would be Wyatt's cue to present his sincere offering. But Wyatt didn't. He just glanced at Jessica. Jessica knew this was her moment. "Uncle Peter," she said, "Wyatt is my friend. Please just help him out with this." Hearing that only strengthened Peter's initial suspicion. If his niece had nothing to do with this kid, why would she be speaking up for him now? Peter was unsure what to do. He felt he should let his brother know about this. If his brother approved of them being together, then even if he had his own reservations, he would have to help. But first, he needed to get the story straight. "Vivi, come with me for a moment." Peter stood up and walked toward a bedroom. Jessica glanced at Wyatt and followed him. Once they were in the room, Peter left the door ajar and whispered, "Vivi, tell me the truth. What's the deal between you and this Wyatt? We're just friends." "Impossible. I know you. If you're just friends, you wouldn't bring him here, and you certainly wouldn't speak up for him. Is he your boyfriend?" "No." Jessica shook her head firmly. "Besides being friends, we have another relationship." "What relationship?" "We're partners." "Partners?" "That's right. I think this business can make money, and this guy's a good head for business, so I've decided to go into it with him. He's my partner." "Partner?" Peter was stunned. "So that's what it is?" Then that explains why Vivi needed the money. As Peter's mind raced, Jessica added, "Besides, he already has a girlfriend. I'm just going into business with him to make money." Jessica was a very independent girl. Peter knew that well. Ever since her father remarried, she had never asked him for money. Even when he offered, she always refused. If they were just business partners, then everything made sense. His niece wanted to start a business, and he was in a position to help. In that case, he had to help. So, when Peter returned to the living room, his attitude had done a complete 180. "Wyatt," he asked, "are you confident in this project?" "I am. I also opened a fresh market on the campus food strip, and it's doing very well. I believe vending machines are the future." "And how many machines are you planning to install?" "I've already spoken with the manufacturer and ordered 30 machines. Our university is just the pilot site. If the profits are good, I'll find a way to expand to other schools." Peter nodded, thought for a moment, and then said, "Our university also has the Brookside campus. You know about that, right?" "I do. I have a good relationship with the head of operations over there. If you do a good job here, I can get your vending machines into the Brookside campus as well." "Director Evans, does that mean you've agreed?" "Vivi is my niece. I'm only agreeing to this on her account, but I still have to answer to the university, so you'll need to pay a symbolic fee for electricity and space usage." "No problem at all," Wyatt said, his voice filled with excitement. It was already 8:30 by the time they left the community. Wyatt called an Uber, and they stood waiting under a streetlight. Seeing the delighted look on Wyatt's face, Jessica said teasingly, "So, Wyatt, how are you going to thank me?" "Thank you? Yeah. Do you think you could have pulled this off by yourself? Didn't I already buy you dinner? Besides, why should I thank you?" Wyatt grinned. "We're partners now. Helping me is the same as helping yourself." Jessica felt an urge to punch him, but couldn't find a good reason to. Wyatt started laying out the plan. "This is just the first step. There's still a lot to do. Our other partner is Chris, my roommate. He's also putting in $15,000, but I've already told him he only gets 24% of the shares. I need to maintain controlling interest in the company." Jessica stood on the curb, hands behind her back, balancing on her toes. "So you're saying I got the better deal?" "That's right. So what's our company called?" "C&W Commerce." Jessica immediately protested. "That's not fair. Why isn't my name in the company name?" "Adding a J just doesn't have the same ring to it," Wyatt said. "How about I make you the legal representative? Get lost." Jessica shot him a sidelong glance and huffed. "Don't think I'm stupid. The legal rep is the one who takes the fall if the company gets into trouble." "Damn, you didn't fall for it. I want to be the head of the finance department. Aren't you a law major? Wyatt asked. Our school's accounting and finance programs are top tier, Jessica said proudly. When I was a freshman, my uncle told me to get an accounting certificate during my studies. I've been taking accounting courses on the side. Wyatt immediately gave her a thumbs up. Impressive, Ms. Campus Queen. Truly. And let me tell you, Wyatt, don't think you're the only smart one around here. You're not going to trick me. Shouldn't we shake on it? We're partners now, after all. Is that necessary? You gotta have a little ceremony, right? Jessica thought about it and decided he had a point. Standing there under the streetlight, she extended her small hand. Fine. Here's to a successful venture and a happy partnership. Happy partnership. Wyatt reached out, and their hands clasped. For a long, long moment. Are you going to let go? Oh, sorry. Forgot. Jessica pulled her hand back, wrinkling her nose in disdain. You take every chance you get. You're such a player. Your hand isn't as soft as my girlfriend's. Wyatt, hearing the murderous tone in her voice, Wyatt immediately turned and bolted. You're dead. Get back here. A gentleman uses his words, not his fists. I'm no gentleman. My phone's ringing. Phone's ringing. The car is here. Back in the dorm that night, Wyatt told Chris what had happened. Chris was just as excited. So it's a done deal. At least the first step is out of the way, Wyatt said with a grin. And Jessica's uncle can get us into the Brookside campus too. Chris nodded. That saves us a lot of trouble. Looks like bringing the campus queen on board was a good move for us. Jessica's uncle is arranging for an electrician to meet with me tomorrow. They're going to set up outlets for us where we plan to install the machines. I'm going to the bank this afternoon. What for? To see if I can qualify for a student business loan. It's free money from the government. You'd be a fool not to take it. Chris was confused. I thought you said you had money. The market is soaring right now. I can't bear to pull any cash out. All the profits from a market go straight into my brokerage account. Aren't you afraid of losing it all? Not a chance. If I had real capital right now, even Warren Buffett couldn't touch me. Wyatt wasn't just bragging. Though he didn't know much about stocks, he knew of a few, Tesla, Apple, Netflix, that were guaranteed to skyrocket if he bought them now. In a few years, they'd be worth dozens of times more. Before his shower, Wyatt installed the sheer curtains he'd bought online. The dorm was on the second floor, right above some bushes, and mosquitoes were a huge problem in the summer. The curtains would keep them out and provide some privacy. He finished around 10 and climbed into bed. He put on his headphones and sent a video call request to Chloe. It took over 10 seconds for her to answer. The lights were still on in her dorm, but she was already lying in bed. Wyatt could only see half of her face. Why so late tonight? She asked. I was taking care of some big business. Right now, I'm just the owner of a fresh market. But soon, I might be the owner of a commerce company. What are you up to now? Wyatt gave her the rundown on the vending machine business, glossing over Jessica's involvement. When he finished, Chloe seemed remarkably calm. Wyatt raised an eyebrow. Aren't you happy for me? Why should I be happy? I'm the boss now. That makes you the boss's wife. I'm sleepy. I'm going to bed. Then go to sleep. Don't hang up. I want to watch you and listen to you breathe while I fall asleep. Whatever, she mumbled. Chloe placed her phone on her pillow, closed her eyes, and tried to sleep. But before she could drift off, she heard the rhythmic sound of light snoring coming from Wyatt's end. You dork, she whispered, exasperated. She switched the video to a voice call, quietly put her earbuds in, and after the dorm lights went out, she listened to his soft snores and quickly fell into a deep sleep. The morning air was exceptionally fresh, with a slight chill. Wyatt slowly opened his eyes, the soft mattress warm and comfortable, almost like an embrace. He stretched, got out of bed, and, after washing up, he rode his scooter to the dining hall. After getting a call from Director Evans, he met the electrician from Campus Services and spent the morning showing him where to install the power outlets. He thought it would take all morning, but they were done before 10. Wyatt immediately zipped over to the subway station to pick up Leo. How's the market doing? Leo asked. Pretty good. How much are you making a month? 3, 4, times 10,000, 30, 40,000. Wyatt nodded. About that. Leo's eyes turned red with envy. You're an absolute animal. Do your parents know you're a business owner at school? How would they know? I have other plans for the money. Just as Leo was about to say something, Wyatt asked, Hey, let me ask you something. Does your school have any vending machines? Vending machines? Leo shook his head. No, but we have a strip with all kinds of food stalls. Wyatt smiled. Then I need you to do something for me. What is it? I need you to find out everything you can about the director of campus services at your school, his interests, his hobbies. But don't let him find out. Once you have the info, tell me everything. Be a spy? Wait, what are you planning? Wyatt stopped the scooter and said with a straight face, Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Wyatt, founder and chairman of C&W Commerce. Chairman, Leo's jaw dropped. I haven't seen you in a week. And now you're a chairman? Don't get so worked up, Wyatt said, starting the scooter again and continuing down the road. If you help me with this, once it's done, I'll make you a manager in my company. Why do you need to know about the director of my school? I'm getting into the vending machine business. To get them into a university, you have to get the director of campus services on your side. I'm asking you to investigate him so we can find the right approach later on. You know what I mean? Leo nodded. I think I get it. Wyatt drove Leo back to the fresh market. Valerie had just finished cutting up half a watermelon. Wyatt handed a slice to Leo and took one for himself, squatting by the entrance. If this works out, I'll need to hire a couple of part-timers at your school to handle restocking. You'll be their boss. Once the business grows, you'll be the regional manager for the entire Bronx. Have you been involved in a pyramid scheme or something? You've gotten really good at hyping people up since you started college. Wyatt nudged Leo with his hip. I'm trying to help you get ahead. If you don't want the job, plenty of other people will. I'll do it. I never said I wouldn't. Wyatt immediately slung an arm around Leo's shoulder. That's my boy. I'll treat you to something good for lunch. Your treat. Let's go Dutch. I have a lot of startup expenses. Once I'm rich, I'll treat you every day, no problem. Leo knew Wyatt's family wasn't wealthy. Even though he'd partnered with Chris on the market, Wyatt must have put in some of his own money. Going Dutch seemed fair. At noon, Wyatt took Leo on a scooter to Metro Center Plaza and back to the same steakhouse from the night before. Leo glanced at the decor. Is this place expensive? He whispered. Nah, they're having a grand opening special. Wyatt led Leo inside, and they found a table. As soon as the waiter approached with menus, Wyatt waved him off. No menus needed. We'll have 2 of the $29.99 steak specials. Right away, sir. Leo immediately said, You said we're going Dutch. Don't you dare make me pay for everything. Relax. They made small talk while they waited. Before long, the waiter brought out 2 steak platters. Neither of them was particularly skilled with a knife and fork. They both wished they had chopsticks. In less than 15 minutes, they had devoured their meals. Seeing Leo wipe his mouth with a napkin, fully satisfied, Wyatt asked with a smile, Full? Yep. Ready to pay and go? Sure. We'll each pay our own way. Wyatt waved the waiter over. Check, please. That'll be $59.98, gentlemen. Leo, you can pay your half first, $30, Wyatt said. Leo obediently paid his share. Then Wyatt reached into his pocket and handed the waiter the coupon from the previous night. This is that 50% off coupon you gave me yesterday. Of course, sir. Leo stared at the coupon in Wyatt's hand, a murderous rage building inside him. You son of a bitch. We agreed to go Dutch. I pay my full half, and you just used the coupon? Wyatt, are you even human? Why are you looking at me like that? The total was $60. Didn't you just pay half? To vent his frustration, Leo grabbed a bunch of free fruit from the counter on his way out. Wyatt didn't stop him. It was all in-season fruit that was cheap to buy wholesale anyway. After sending Leo off, Wyatt didn't go back to campus. He rode his scooter straight to a bank to inquire about student loans. But when he heard the maximum loan amount was only $1,000, he lost interest. He asked another question. Are there any special policies for student entrepreneurs? Yes, the NYC University Tech Startup Fund and the NYC Small Business Credit Guarantee Center have jointly launched a credit guarantee fund for student entrepreneurs. A single loan can go up to $75,000 for working capital with a 1-year term. What are the requirements? Wyatt asked eagerly. Proof of student status, a business license, operating permits, and the applicant needs to have a certain amount of their own startup capital, as well as a stable income and the ability to repay. And the most important thing is... What? Wyatt pressed. You need a guarantor. What kind of guarantor? A high-level university administrator, an established entrepreneur, or someone within the banking system. In short, the guarantor needs to have a certain level of social standing. Wyatt paused for a moment, then nodded. Okay, I understand. Thanks. 75 grand could solve a lot of problems, and Wyatt wanted it badly. But he didn't know any high-level administrators or entrepreneurs yet. As for someone in the banking system, he knew one person, Chloe's father. But every time they met, her dad looked at him like he wanted to skin him alive. Asking him for help was completely unrealistic. Looks like I'll have to pull the money from the stock market after all, Wyatt thought as he left the bank. Ever since the vending machine idea took hold, Wyatt had lost interest in managing the fresh market. The business had stabilized, and with Valerie, Sam, and Alex, the 3 of them could handle it. That evening, Wyatt sent a message to Jessica. Wyatt, ask your uncle when we can install the machines. Jessica, already did. Thursday and Friday. Jessica, meet me at Dining Hall 1 tomorrow at noon. Wyatt, what for? Jessica, I'm giving you my investment money. Wyatt, okay. I'll meet you at the entrance. Jessica, K. After replying, Wyatt took a shower. When he got out, he had 2 new unread messages on his phone. They were from Miranda, Chloe's mom. Miranda, Wyatt, I need to tell you something. Miranda, I'm coming to NYC next Friday. Wyatt quickly typed back, Sorry, Annie, I was in the shower. Are you coming to see Chloe? Miranda, I'm attending a beauty expo, and I'll visit Chloe while I'm there. You're on the east side of the city, right? Wyatt, yes. Miranda, I'm flying into JFK. How about you act as my guide and take me to Chloe's school? Wyatt, of course. Miranda, then it's a date. Miranda, I'll come straight to your school next Friday. Miranda, don't tell Chloe first. Wyatt understood. After chatting with Miranda, Wyatt sat on his chair and opened his chat with Chloe. Last night's voice call had lasted over 5 hours, ending only when his phone died. Wyatt, what's up? Chloe, reading manga. Wyatt, is it good? Chloe, it's okay. A little boring. Wyatt, I'm coming to see you next week. Chloe, what day? Wyatt, either Friday night or Saturday during the day. Chloe, don't bring flowers. Chloe, and no presents. Chloe, and wait for me somewhere far away. Wyatt, I'm starting to feel like you're embarrassed by me. Chloe, that's right. Chloe, I'm a little embarrassed by you. Wyatt, in that case, I'll just bring a giant banner next week. It'll say, Chloe from room 205, you just focus on your studies. I'll raise our baby on my own. Chloe, you wouldn't dare. Chloe, you jerk. Wyatt, I'm just kidding. I'm alone in my dorm right now. Want a video chat? Chloe, for what? Wyatt, to see your legs. The next day at noon, Jessica stood at the entrance of the dining hall, scanning the crowds of students heading in for lunch. She was wearing a gray, form-fitting tank top under a pair of white overalls. The snug fit, combined with her natural height, made her look exceptionally tall and slender. Her hair was casually draped over her shoulders, catching the sunlight with a reddish tint. Her skin was fair, her features delicate. The way she stood there waiting, brow slightly furrowed, was adorable, fulfilling almost every guy's fantasy of a campus queen. At least 90% of the school knew who she was. The bolder ones would even say hello. Hey, Jessica, why aren't you going in? I'm waiting for someone. Her words immediately piqued everyone's curiosity. The campus queen is waiting for someone at the dining hall? Who is she waiting for? Many who went inside kept glancing back at her. Until Wyatt came jogging up. Seeing Jessica at the entrance, he waved. Sorry, my advisor needed to see me. I'm a little late. Let's go inside, Jessica said, not making a fuss since she knew Wyatt was the class president. Wyatt quickly led Chris to follow her. They didn't get food, but found a corner table. Jessica took out her phone. Give me your account number. I'll transfer the money. You don't have to be in such a hurry. Registering the company will take until Thursday or Friday. The official seal isn't ready yet, so we can't sign the equity agreement. Are you trying to scam me? Of course not. This business wouldn't happen without your uncle. We're in this together now. We're partners, not whatever that means. Right. Whatever you say. Wyatt didn't hold back, giving her his bank account number. Jessica typed it in, and just before she confirmed the transfer, she asked, He and I are both putting in $15,000. How much are you putting in? I'm putting in $30,000, of course. Do you even have that much? Come on, Wyatt said, his face a mask of mock despair. Is there no basic trust between people anymore? You have to prove it to me. Wyatt had no choice. He opened his brokerage account on his phone and handed it to her. Count it yourself. Jessica glanced at it, her eyes widening in shock. $150,000. Wyatt hadn't checked the market that morning. He took the phone back and looked. See? Do you believe me now? How do you have so much money? My initial capital was only about $60,000, but I put all the profits from the market into my brokerage account. Plus, the market's been on a bull run lately, and a few of my stocks have been hitting their limits every day, so. Jessica's impression of Wyatt was completely reset. She never imagined he was a stock market whiz. But he's only 19. How did he learn to trade stocks? Okay, confirmed. Check if it went through. Got it. Jessica nodded. Then her gaze shifted to Chris. You're Chris, right? Yeah. She pointed at Wyatt. I need to talk to this guy alone. Can you find another seat? Chris never thought he'd see the day he'd be the third wheel getting shooed away. He quickly got up and went to get his lunch. Jessica turned back to Wyatt. What do you want to eat? My treat. Wyatt was confused. Why are you being so nice today? Just tell me what you want to eat. Pork ribs and rice. I can't carry it all by myself. Come with me. Wyatt got up and followed her to the food counter. The sight of them together sent a fresh wave of gossip through the dining hall. What's going on? Did a freshman actually win over the campus queen? This is a disgrace to us all. Looks like it's a done deal. There were 3 of them, and the third one just got kicked out. What an animal. Well, that's it. I wonder how many hearts are breaking right now. Wyatt followed Jessica to a table and they sat down across from each other. Amid the chaotic noise of the dining hall, Wyatt just focused on his food. Jessica looked up at him, annoyed. Can you eat a little slower? You eat your food. Why are you always watching me? Jessica was speechless, but she quickly changed the subject. So, are you really good at trading stocks? Wyatt nodded. I guess. Right now, getting into the market is basically like picking up free money. Jessica ate a few bites absent-mindedly, lost in thought. After a while, she said, if that's the case, can you manage my money for me? Hearing this, Wyatt finally stopped eating. Manage your money? You mean for stocks? Jessica nodded. Yes. Stock trading. How much more do you have? 30,000. Wyatt's own wealth was a product of his rebirth. He was curious how Jessica, so young, had so much money. He asked her directly, where did you get that much? My mom left it to me. Why would your mom leave you so much? Jessica's expression darkened slightly, but she didn't hide it. My mom passed away. This is my inheritance for my future. It was with my grandmother. I asked her for it yesterday, and she just gave me the card. Wyatt hadn't considered that at all. I'm sorry, he said, then added, but are you sure you can trust me with that much money? Your entire file is with the university. I'm not worried about you running off, but you have to promise me you won't lose it. Anyone else would hesitate to make such a promise, but Wyatt could. He thought for a moment. How about this? You give me the money. Don't worry about how much I make. I'll pay you a 5% annual interest rate on your principal, paid out monthly. If the market does really well, I'll give you a bonus on top of that, and you can withdraw the money at any time. He added, you wouldn't get a rate that high even from a 5-year CD at a bank, and with me, you can access it whenever you want. Jessica agreed, almost without thinking. Okay, I'll transfer it to you now. Eat first. It'll get cold. It's fine. Making money is more important. Ever since she started living with her grandmother, Jessica had become acutely aware of money. The clothes she wore were never designer brands. Her entire outfit probably cost less than $100. She had considered getting a part-time job, even asking her uncle to help her get a position as a library assistant. But when Peter heard she wanted to work, he immediately shut it down. If you need money, come to me. Don't even think about working. That put an end to her work-study plans, but the desire to earn money never left her. She wanted her grandmother to live comfortably in her old age. Plagued by a sense of insecurity, she had always dreamed of buying her own house. As for a boyfriend, she wouldn't touch the idea with a 10-foot pole. Ever since her father had married her mother's best friend a year after her mother's death, all men, in Jessica's eyes, were unreliable. The only reason she was partnering with Wyatt and asking him to manage her money was because she recognized his business acumen. After all, he had already successfully launched the fresh market. As long as she could make money, she didn't care what anyone else said or thought. Chapter 101. The news of Wyatt and Jessica eating lunch together in the dining hall spread like wildfire. By that afternoon, it seemed like everyone had heard, and as one person told another, the rumor that they were together reached every corner of campus. Starting Tuesday, whenever Wyatt walked around, he could feel the envious, jealous, and hateful glares of countless guys. He didn't bother to explain, and Jessica seemed equally unconcerned by the gossip. 2 more days passed, and the paperwork for C&W Commerce was finally completed, expedited by a small fee. On Thursday afternoon, the vending machines were delivered from the factory. Wyatt and a team of installers spent the entire afternoon setting up the 30-plus machines at their predetermined locations. Then came the all-night restocking run. By the time Wyatt, Chris, and Alex had filled every machine with drinks, it was past 11. Lying in bed after a shower, Wyatt opened his phone and saw messages from 2 people. One was from his best bro, Leo. The other was from his girlfriend, Chloe. Leo, our director of campus services, is named Peterson. About 45, drives a VW Jetta, usually lives in the faculty apartments, but I heard he has another place off campus. Wyatt, can you dig up something useful? Leo, what do you mean, useful? Wyatt, I need his weaknesses. Drinking, gambling, women. See if he's into any of them. Leo, how am I supposed to find that out? Wyatt, just follow him around when you have free time. Leo, you want me to stalk him? Wyatt, it's not stalking, it's research. Wyatt, Leo, my man, business is war. As long as it's not illegal, any tactic is fair game. Leo, I'll try. While texting Leo, Wyatt was also replying to Chloe. Chloe, why so late tonight? Wyatt, was out stocking up. The vending machines are installed. Starting tomorrow, they'll be making money. Chloe, I'm already sleepy. Wyatt, you could go to bed early. You don't have to wait for me. Wyatt, were you worried since I wasn't replying? Chloe, of course not. Wyatt, tomorrow's Friday. You'll see me in one more day. Excited? Chloe, not excited. Wyatt, then I won't come. Chloe, If you go back on your word, you're dead. Kitchen knife, kitchen knife, kitchen knife. Wyatt. So what should we do this weekend? Chloe, whatever. Wyatt. How about we go on a show together? Chloe, what show? Wyatt. We can go on The Bachelor. You be a contestant, I'll be the bachelor. You give me the final rose, we get engaged, and the show sends us on a 7-day trip to Hawaii. Chloe. La la la, I can't hear you. Chloe, I'm sleeping. Chloe. I won't see your messages if you send them. Wyatt, good night. A minute later. Chloe, good night. Friday afternoon was class-free. After lunch, Wyatt went to the shop and sat down at the computer, looking at the vending machine's back-end management system. The system displayed the sales data and inventory levels for each machine. The machines in the academic buildings have each sold between $60 and $90 so far. More people should be buying drinks this afternoon, so I estimate each machine will do about $200 to $300 a day. Even with a 30% gross margin, that's a very respectable daily income. Chris added, when I went to class this morning, there was a crowd around the machine. A lot of people were buying milk. They're selling pretty fast, Wyatt said. Just a few of us won't be enough to handle restocking. We need to hire 2 part-timers just for the machines. Should I post about it on the school subreddit? Chris asked. Wyatt shook his head. It's not hard work. I'll ask around in our class first. I'm sure someone will want the job. He then added, you guys help me keep an eye on which drinks sell best. We'll adjust our inventory accordingly. Got it. As Wyatt was talking with his roommates, Jessica walked into the shop. Seeing Wyatt at the computer, she strode over and nudged him. Move, let me see. She seemed even more excited than Wyatt. This was, after all, her first time partnering with someone in a business. The thought that she was now a small business owner had made it impossible to concentrate in class all morning. Wyatt gave her his seat. She sat down, her bright eyes glued to the data on the screen. After half a minute, she smiled. Not bad. We sold this much in just one morning. At this rate, we'll break even pretty quickly. Jessica was right. If they could maintain these sales figures, they would indeed recoup their investment soon. But there were 2 reasons for their success. First, the university had a large, captive audience, ensuring high foot traffic. Second, her uncle Peter had given them a huge advantage, charging only symbolic fees for space and electricity. At any other school, those fees alone would have eaten up a huge chunk of their profits, not to mention the backroom deals they would have had to make. So, being my partner is pretty great, right? TCH. Jessica shot him a dismissive look. Without me, this business might not have even gotten off the ground. Yes, the contributions of the great Ms. Campus Queen are truly unparalleled. Jessica stood up. I have class this afternoon, so I'm going back to my dorm for a nap. I'll come by after class. You guys will be here this afternoon, right? Yeah, we don't have classes, Chris said. But Wyatt shook his head. I might not be on campus this evening. I might have to go to JFK. Just call me if anything comes up. Okay. At 3:30, Wyatt messaged Miranda, Chloe's mom, asking if she needed a ride from the airport. Miranda replied half an hour later, saying she had just landed and was already in a car. She would be at his school's entrance in 25 minutes and asked him to send her a location pin. Wyatt figured as much. A woman like Miranda, decked out in luxury brands with a purse that cost more than a car, was surely a high-level executive. Her company would definitely arrange for a car service. It was silly of him to even ask. 25 minutes later, Wyatt got a call from her. He ran to the south gate of the campus. Miranda, sitting in a black Audi, saw him and rolled down the window, waving. Wyatt. He jogged over, his voice dripping with honey. Auntie, I've booked a hotel room near Chloe's school. Will you come with me tonight? I'll have to grab some clothes for my dorm. Miranda smiled. No rush. It's a perfect chance for you to show me that fresh market you opened. Of course. Wyatt didn't hesitate. He opened the car door, got in, and directed the driver toward the food strip. The car soon pulled up in front of the market. Wyatt pointed to his storefront. Auntie, this is it. Miranda turned her head, her eyes landing on the sign above the shop. A small smile played on her lips. Cece's Fresh Market. Pull over. Miranda's eyes landed on the sign for the fresh market, and a flicker of interest crossed her face. Before Wyatt could respond, she'd already pushed open the door of the Audi and stepped out onto the curb. Wyatt quickly followed. The whole crew happened to be in the shop. Chris, Alex, and Sam saw Wyatt approaching with Miranda, and even from a distance, they could feel the powerful executive aura rolling off her. The usual boisterous energy of the group vanished, and they suddenly looked like awkward teenagers at their first dance, none of them daring to step forward and say hello. These are my roommates, Wyatt said, making the introductions. This is Chris from out on the West Coast. This is Alex, he's a local. Sam, from West Virginia. And this is our store manager, Valerie. She's a senior. Miranda was the picture of corporate elegance in a beige pantsuit and white heels. A Prada bag was draped over her arm, and a Cartier tank watch glinted on her wrist. She'd had a pleasant, faint smile on her face since she got out of the car, but her eyes, sharp, analytical, as if they could see right through you, kept Chris and the others from saying anything stupid. The atmosphere was thick with awkwardness when Jessica Evans, having just sprinted over from her last class, appeared at the door, still catching her breath. "Wyatt, how'd we do? Are the afternoon vending sales way up? I saw a huge line at the machine by the library when I was leaving." As she stepped inside, Jessica immediately sensed the shift in the room's dynamics. Her gaze swept across the group and settled, naturally, on Miranda. And from the moment Jessica had walked in, Miranda's attention had been fixed solely on her. Jessica's arrival triggered a sudden, protective instinct in Miranda. She'd expected a boy with Wyatt's personality to be popular in college, but she'd never been particularly worried. She had absolute confidence in her own daughter. But now, seeing this stunningly beautiful girl who was clearly so close to Wyatt, Miranda felt an unexpected jolt of alarm. My poor, clueless Chloe, she thought, is probably sitting in her dorm room with no idea. Just as Miranda was thinking this, Wyatt, who had been carefully studying her micro-expressions, trying to guess what was on her mind, made his move. Right as she was about to turn and grill him, he stepped forward, casually slinging an arm over her shoulder. With a mischievous grin, he announced to the room, "Everyone, I'd like you to meet my future mother-in-law." The shop fell silent. Everyone stared, completely stunned. No one could believe he just said that. Future mother-in-law? Wyatt, you have some serious balls. Even Miranda herself was taken aback. A flicker of shock crossed her face, but then the slight frown that had been forming on her brow smoothed out. The faint, polite smile returned to her lips. She didn't scold him for his outrageous comment. Instead, she looked at Jessica and asked, "Wyatt, is this another one of your classmates?" "This is Jessica," he explained. "Her, Chris, and me. We're partners in a company we started, C&W Commerce. We're handling the vending machine business. I haven't had a chance to tell you about it yet." Miranda was even more surprised. It was one thing for a freshman to open a small market, but to have already launched a registered company? She knew about automated retail, of course, and understood it was a business with huge growth potential. Wyatt's image in her mind leveled up once again. Jessica was sharp. She had sensed the appraisal in Miranda's gaze from the start. As soon as Wyatt finished his introduction, she stepped forward. "Wyatt, is this lady your girlfriend's mother?" "She is," Wyatt admitted without hesitation. "Ma'am, you look so young," Jessica said with a bright, winning smile. Miranda laughed, a genuine, warm sound this time. "You're very kind, and you have a good head on your shoulders, getting into business so early." "Thank you," Jessica replied. After a few more pleasantries, Miranda adopted a more maternal tone, offering some polite words of encouragement before turning back to Wyatt. "It's getting late, Wyatt. We should go." Wyatt nodded. After giving a few quick instructions to the others, he ran back to his dorm to grab a change of clothes, then hopped into the Audi with Miranda. They headed towards New York City and Juilliard. Once the car was cruising on the highway, Miranda broke the silence. Why the rush to start so many businesses as a freshman? Gotta make money, right? His answer reminded Miranda of a younger Charles, her husband. In his youth, he had been completely consumed by his career, a fact that had eventually driven a wedge between them. "So what do you think is more important?" she asked, probing. "Your career or your family?" "I think you build a career to provide a foundation for your family," Wyatt answered thoughtfully. "You hustle for them. So if I have to pick one, it's family. Always. But a career often demands most of your time. You end up with no time left for the people you're doing it for." Wyatt smiled. "That's why I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a boss. I decide when I work." Miranda was momentarily speechless. The corner of her lip curled into another small, unreadable smile. She didn't bring up his stunt back at the store. For the rest of the drive, they sat in a comfortable silence. Bored, Wyatt pulled out his phone and sent a message to Chloe. "Wyatt, in the car now." "Chloe, how much longer?" "Wyatt, probably 20 minutes. "Chloe, 'kay. I'm gonna wash my hair, Chloe. Call me when you get here." "Wyatt, you got it." 20 minutes later, the Audi pulled up directly in front of the women's dormitory at Juilliard. This was the first time Miranda had ever been to her daughter's school. When Wyatt got out to make the call, she remained in the car. She wanted to see for herself how Chloe and Wyatt were when they were together, and then give her daughter a little surprise. Ring, ring. Chloe, who had just finished washing her hair and was halfway through blow-drying it, heard her phone buzz on her desk. She slammed the dryer off, grabbed the phone, and bolted out of the dorm room. Her 3 roommates were completely used to this by now. Isabel, meticulously penciling in her eyebrows in the mirror, chuckled. Look at her go. Must be Wyatt. Ashley put down her violin. Has to be. Her hair's not even dry. Sophie, perched on her top bunk reading a steamy romance novel, lowered her phone and smiled. So, are we going to be third-wheeling it again tomorrow? Chloe practically flew down the stairs. The moment she burst through the main doors, she saw Wyatt standing there, a goofy grin plastered on his face. She marched right up to him, tilting her head back to look up at him. How'd you get here so fast? My hair's not even dry. Wyatt held his hands up defensively. I said 20 minutes. Chloe pulled out her phone to check the time, then looked back up. Well, let's go get something to eat. Isabel and the girls found this amazing ramen place this week. Don't you want to dry your hair first? The wind will dry it. It's still early, when not in a rush. Seeing him fuss, Chloe rolled her eyes. She put her hands on his back and started pushing him forward. Let's go. Stop talking so much. I'm starving. From inside the car, Miranda watched the scene unfold, her expression frozen in astonishment. A storm was brewing in her heart. Is that really my daughter? So, I'm actually not here alone today. What do you mean? Before Wyatt could explain, the back door of the Audi swung open. Miranda stepped out, forcing a smile as she called out, Chloe. Chloe whipped her head around. Seeing her mother, she instantly snatched her hands back from Wyatt's back and took 2 quick steps to the side, creating a respectable distance between them. Mom, she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. What are you doing here? I had a business trip in the city, so I thought I'd stop by and see you, Miranda said smoothly. Where were you two going? Chloe was too embarrassed to speak. Wyatt stepped in. She said she found a great noodle shop and was going to take me. Miranda waved a hand towards the car. Well, get in. We'll all go together. She slid back into the car. Wyatt leaned in close to Chloe and whispered, Don't be mad at me. Your mom told me not to say anything. I can't exactly disobey your mom, can I? Chloe shot him a look, her defiant eyes screaming, You just wait. You are so dead. After one last glare, she got into the car. As thick-skinned as Wyatt was, even he knew better than to sit in the back with the two of them. He took the front passenger seat. As the car pulled away from the campus, Miranda noticed Chloe's damp hair hanging over her shoulders. She opened her purse, pulled out a simple black hair tie, and gently gathered Chloe's hair, tying it back for her. It's going to get cold in the city soon. When you wash your hair, you have to remember to dry it completely. If you're cold at night, make sure you get a thicker comforter. If the showers in the dorm are a pain, you can always go to a hotel. Actually, you're staying with me in a hotel tonight. Oh, Chloe seemed to revert to the quiet, compliant daughter she was at home. Miranda sighed internally. There was nothing she could do about it. A few minutes later, Chloe spoke to the driver in a clipped tone. You can stop here. The 3 of them entered a small, trendy ramen shop. Miranda chose a table and sat down while Wyatt and Chloe went to the counter to order. What are you getting? Chloe asked in a hushed, tense voice. I'll have whatever you're having. 3 bowls of the spicy miso ramen, Chloe told the cashier. But no green onions in one of them, please. Soon, they were seated opposite Miranda. No one spoke. The air was thick with unspoken tension. When the ramen arrived, they began to eat in silence. The mother and daughter ate in perfect, mirrored synchrony, slow, deliberate, taking small, elegant bites. It was a stark contrast to Wyatt, who was hunched over his bowl, slurping his noodles with abandon. After he'd finished, Wyatt just sat there, openly and shamelessly watching Chloe eat, right in front of her mother. Chloe, through her peripheral vision, was acutely aware of the idiot staring at her. If Miranda weren't there, she would have snapped. What are you looking at? Stop staring at me. But as it was, she could only pretend not to notice. From the ramen shop, Miranda took them to the Regency Grand, a 5-star hotel near the campus. Knowing her daughter was used to sleeping alone, she had booked 3 separate suites, all on the same floor. Wyatt knew that Miranda, being here for such a short time, would have a lot to say to Chloe. He took the key card she offered him and, without a word, headed to his own room. Bored and restless, Wyatt scrolled through his Instagram and Facebook feeds for a while. Just as he was about to take a shower, he got a message from Leo. Leo, I've got something. Leo, this guy Peterson owns more than 1 property off campus. After dinner with some other university officials, he drove off alone and went into this apartment complex. Leo, image attached. Wyatt zoomed in on the photo of the building, then typed back. Wyatt, why didn't you follow him in? Wyatt, why didn't you follow him in? Leo, I didn't want to risk it. Wyatt, dude, he doesn't know you from Adam. What are you scared of? Wyatt, his wife and kids don't live there, right? Leo, Wyatt, okay, get inside that complex now. Find his car and stake out the building. My guess is he's got a mistress stashed there. Leo, what if he doesn't come down? You wanted to wait here all night? Wyatt, he's got a family. He won't spend the night. He'll be out by 10 p.m. tops. Wyatt, if I'm right, make sure you get a couple of pictures. Leo, fine. Leo, first time doing this kind of thing. I'm seriously freaking out. Wyatt, it's normal. You get used to it after a few times. Leo, where are you? Wyatt, in a hotel room with my girlfriend. Leo? 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 In the room next door. Chloe, I went to Wyatt's university this afternoon. Miranda took off her jacket, hanging it on the rack by the door. She retrieved a bottle of water from the mini fridge, took a sip, and continued. He's opened a fresh market there. Do you know what it's called? Hearing this, Chloe subconsciously clutched the hem of her shirt. I know, she said quickly. And besides the market, he's also started a vending machine business. I know about that. Miranda smiled. But did you know that one of Wyatt's business partners is an incredibly beautiful girl? Chloe fell silent. Wyatt definitely hadn't told her about that. And she certainly didn't know. For her mother to call someone beautiful, they had to be genuinely stunning. After all, Miranda worked in the cosmetics industry and dealt with models all the time. Praise from her was rare. But why didn't Wyatt mention her to me? Chloe's mind started to race. Miranda sat down next to her daughter, placing a comforting hand on her back. Don't worry, she said with a gentle smile. I already did some recon for you. They're just friends, and she knows he's with you. Chloe's face flushed a brilliant shade of crimson. She shot to her feet, sputtering, What? With me? We're not. What are you talking about? Now it was Miranda's turn to be confused. The girl, Jessica, knew Wyatt had a girlfriend. Everyone at the store seemed to know. Weren't they secretly dating? You're not together. No. Then why did he call me his mother-in-law this afternoon? Miranda wondered. Out loud. She said, Well, I don't know about that. All I know is that his roommates and friends all think he has a girlfriend. In the car earlier, I saw him using your picture as his phone's lock screen. Chloe looked down, her face burning, and muttered, That jerk. I haven't even said yes, and he's out there telling everyone. Seeing Chloe's reaction, Miranda understood everything. Whether they had officially confirmed their relationship didn't matter anymore. Because even she could see that Wyatt now occupied a very important place in her daughter's heart. Miranda was a woman. She knew what it felt like to be in love. Look, I'm not going to interfere in your love life like your father would. I have no objections to however things develop between you and Wyatt. But don't ever think that just because someone likes you, you can take them for granted. Any relationship, friendship, or romance requires work from both people. Chloe grabbed her key card from the table and, with her face still beet red, walked out of the room. The moment she was back in her own suite, a message from Wyatt popped up on her phone. Wyatt, you guys done talking? Wyatt, there's a wildcat on my windowsill that can do a backflip. Want to come see? Of course, Chloe knew he was lying. They were on the 17th floor. There was no way a cat was on his windowsill. But she still hesitated. She wanted to march over there and ask him if he'd really told everyone that she was his girlfriend. She glanced at her mother's closed door, then padded over to Wyatt's. She didn't dare to knock. Instead, she took out her phone. Chloe, open the door. Wyatt scrambled to open it. Seeing the stern look on Chloe's face, he gave a weak, sheepish grin. Why so serious? Chloe ignored him, slipping past him into the room. Once he'd closed the door, she pointed a finger at his chest. Did you tell everyone I'm your girlfriend? Wyatt paused for a second, then nodded. Yeah, you're shameless. Only Wyatt could be so brazenly unapologetic about something he was clearly in the wrong for. He even cooked up a perfectly reasonable excuse. You have no idea. Our school is like 90% girls. I had people hitting on me the first day of orientation. If I didn't say I had a girlfriend, the line of girls trying to get my number would stretch from my dorm to the main gate. Chloe was speechless. On the first day of school, he had played the part of her boyfriend. Her own roommates were now completely convinced they were a couple. Even if she denied it now, they'd never believe her. The whole reason she'd agreed to the charade was to ward off unwanted attention. Now he was using that same logic as his excuse, and she had no way to argue. She pouted. Well, I still haven't said yes. Wyatt grinned. So, when are you planning on it? Chloe whipped her head to the side, her heart thrumming like a drum, but she tried to look nonchalant. I don't know. Her acting was terrible, full of obvious tells. But Wyatt didn't call her out on it. He just smiled. The bedroom vanity has a hairdryer. Want to dry your hair first? Chloe hesitated for a moment, then walked into the bedroom. Even in a five-star hotel, the room's decor was elegantly simple. A large bed, a wardrobe, a vanity, and a dresser at the foot of the bed. She sat down at the vanity, reached back to pull out the hair tie, and her long, dark hair cascaded over her shoulders. Just as she reached for the hairdryer, Wyatt's hand got there first. I'll do it for you. I can do it myself, she said quickly. It's fine, he insisted. I'm a pro. A pro at blow-drying hair? Seriously? Chloe grumbled internally, but she didn't have the energy to fight him on it. As the warm air blew from the dryer, her damp hair slowly began to dry, and the scent of her lavender shampoo filled the room. It was a light, pleasant fragrance. When he was done, Wyatt turned off the dryer and gently ruffled her hair with his left hand. All done, he said softly. Chloe's face was on fire. Throughout the process, every accidental brush of his fingers against her neck or scalp made her tense up, only to slowly relax, then tense up again. After a few rounds of this, she had almost gotten used to it. In the room next door, Miranda had just finished a call with a colleague. The schedule was confirmed. She had to be back in Pudong first thing in the morning for the beauty expo. She was worried she might leave before Chloe woke up, but she also didn't want to go talk to her again and seem like a nag. After a moment of hesitation, Miranda decided to go have a word with Wyatt instead. Tell him to look after Chloe. Tell him to keep her updated. That mother-in-law comment from the afternoon might have been a joke, but in Miranda's mind, Wyatt was already 99% of the way to being her daughter's boyfriend. She left her suite, bypassed Chloe's room, and walked to Wyatt's door, pressing the bell. Ding-dong. The sudden sound made both Wyatt and Chloe jump. It had to be Miranda. Chloe spun around, her panicked eyes locking with Wyatt's. What do we do now? They screamed. Wyatt swallowed hard. I have no idea. A look of pure horror crossed Chloe's face. If you don't think of something, you're dead. Okay, Wyatt finally whispered. Go hide in the bathroom. I'll go deal with her. She probably won't stay long. Chloe thought for a split second, and, as the doorbell rang again, she scrambled into the bathroom. Wyatt closed the bedroom door, walked to the main entrance of the suite, took a deep breath to compose himself, and opened it. Of course it was Miranda. Auntie, Wyatt said, forcing a smile. What's up? Miranda stepped into the room, her brow furrowing for a fraction of a second as she glanced at the closed bedroom door. It smoothed out just as quickly. I have to leave early tomorrow for work. I'll extend the booking on this room for you before I go. Could you explain it to Chloe for me in the morning? No problem. It's going to get cold at the end of the month. Remind Chloe to wear more layers. I'm afraid she'll just think I'm nagging if I say it. Okay, I'll definitely tell her. What time do you usually go to sleep? What? Miranda repeated herself patiently. What time do you usually go to sleep? Oh, around 11. Don't stay up too late. It's not good for a girl to lose too much sleep. A girl? Wyatt caught the implication immediately. I got it, he said quickly. I'll try not to keep Chloe up too late chatting from now on. Miranda hadn't meant for that to slip out, but she was impressed by how quickly he understood. A real smile touched her lips. What are your plans with Chloe tomorrow? Haven't decided yet. We'll figure out tomorrow. It's not about where you go. It's about who you're with, right? Enough with the smooth talk. My daughter isn't a fool. A few sweet words won't win her over. Of course not. In the bathroom, Chloe could hear their entire conversation. Her cheeks burned even hotter, and she twisted the hem of her shirt nervously. All right, get some sleep, Miranda said, turning to leave. Wyatt walked her to the door. Good night, Auntie, he said. Just as he was about to close the door, Miranda's smile vanished. She leaned in and asked in a low voice, Is Chloe in your room? Wyatt's heart skipped a beat. Auntie, how did you know? Your room smells exactly like my daughter. Miranda's voice was calm, matter of fact. The moment I walked in, I smelled the shampoo she always uses. Wyatt rushed to explain. We were just talking. She was afraid you'd misunderstand, so she hid in the bathroom. We didn't do anything. Wyatt, Miranda said, her eyes boring into his. I can continue to trust you, right? Yes, Wyatt nodded firmly. Miranda gave him a small, knowing smile, then turned and walked back to her own room. Phew, Wyatt breathed, slumping against the door in relief. He muttered to himself, shouldn't have had her hide. We didn't even do anything, but now it feels like we got caught. This sucks. Knock, knock. Wyatt walked to the bathroom door. She's gone, he said. Chloe emerged, her face still flushed. She couldn't even look at him. She walked straight past him, heading for the door to go back to her own room. Hey, Wyatt started to say. Chloe paused. Good night, he said softly. Chloe felt like her heart was going to pound its way out her chest. Hearing those words over the phone was one thing, a polite gesture, but hearing them in person like this, it felt intensely intimate. Her whole body felt hot, her palms sweaty. She hurried to the door. Just before she closed it behind her, she whispered a quick, breathless good night. Back in her own room, Chloe leaned against the door, one hand pressed to her racing heart. She slowly slid to the floor, taking small, shallow breaths. She didn't notice that as she was leaving Wyatt's room, the door to the room next to his, Miranda's room, had been cracked open the entire time. Only after hearing the soft goodnight and the click of the door did Miranda finally relax and lock her own door. It wasn't that she didn't trust Wyatt, but she had been young once. At this age, a moment of impulse could easily lead to regrettable decisions. But Wyatt had passed the test. Miranda left the hotel at the crack of dawn the next day. She could have stayed closer to the expo center and slept in, but seeing her daughter had been worth the early start. Wyatt, enjoying the luxury of a king-sized hotel bed, slept in until 9:30. Chloe, next door, had been up for hours. She'd sent him a text at 8, and then another every 10 minutes after that. Chloe, are you up? Chloe, it's after 8. Chloe, get up. Chloe, dork. Chloe, if you don't get up, I'm going back to school. Chloe, you're so lazy and dumb. I hate you. The first thing Wyatt saw when he woke up was the string of messages. He sat up in bed and sent a voice note. Hey, just woke up. Come wait in my room. I'll be ready in a minute. He went to open the door, then rushed into the bathroom to get ready. Chloe figured that since it was daytime, going next door wouldn't be as awkward as it was last night. Unable to sit still any longer, she went to Wyatt's room, saw the door was ajar, and walked in. Hey, dork, where are you? Wyatt poked his head out of the bathroom. Give me 5 minutes to brush my teeth and wash my face. I'll be right out. Chloe sat on the sofa. Her long, dark hair was pulled back into a high ponytail. She was wearing the same outfit, but the change in hairstyle gave her a completely different vibe. As she sat, the hem of her skirt shifted, revealing her slender calves and ankles. She was still wearing a skirt, not seeming to care that Wyatt was always sneaking glances at her legs. When Wyatt came out, he was ready to head downstairs for the hotel breakfast. But Chloe issued a command. Go wash your hair. Your hair looks like a bird's nest. It's ugly. Wyatt gave a sheepish grin, turned, and went back in the bathroom. 5 minutes later, he emerged with his hair towel-dried and ready to go. It was 10 o'clock by the time they left the hotel. Standing at the entrance, Chloe asked, Where are we going today? Wyatt shook his head. I haven't thought of anything. Chloe looked at her phone. Sophie texted me this morning. They're thinking of going to the Met. You want to go with them? Chloe didn't nod or shake her head. I don't know. Well, since we don't have a plan, let's join them. We can have our own date day tomorrow. The words were barely out of his mouth before he felt a murderous aura emanating from beside him. Chloe lifted her foot to stomp on his, but he jumped back just in time. I'm sorry, he pleaded, laughing. She shot him a glare, then pulled out her phone to make a call as she started walking towards the subway station. Not long after, the two groups met up inside the station. The second Isabel saw them, she gave Chloe a knowing look. Chloe, you didn't come back to the dorm last night. What kind of trouble did you get into? My mom came to visit, Chloe explained quickly. I stayed with her in a hotel. Is that so? Isabel said, her eyes flicking pointedly to Wyatt. I thought maybe someone had tricked you into getting a hotel room with him. Wyatt, completely shameless, shot back. Isabel, you seem to know a lot about this stuff. Of course. I've seen a pig run, even if I've never eaten the pork. If you say so, I can introduce you to a few prize hogs if you want. Isabel crossed her arms. Sure, my standards are low. As long as he's taller and better looking than you. Then forget it, Wyatt said. Looks like you're destined to be single forever. Isabel immediately turned to Chloe. Chloe, can I punch him? Chloe nodded. Hey, Wyatt said, grabbing Chloe's hand. Whose side are you on? Just then, the subway train pulled into the station. Before Chloe could fully react, Wyatt pulled her onto the train and into a seat. The museum wasn't far, but they had gotten a late start, so it was lunchtime by the time they arrived. After a quick bite, they spent an hour or so wandering through the exhibits. Wyatt had zero interest in any of it, trailing along as the girls explored. But their luck ran out. When they emerged, a light rain had started to fall. The clear morning sky was now blanketed with dark clouds. Of the 5 of them, only Sophie had thought to bring an umbrella. Now what? Ashley said, looking worriedly at the darkening sky. It looks like it's going to rain harder. Okay, new plan, Wyatt said decisively. The rain's still light. You 3 head for the subway now. What about you 2? Don't worry about us. Just go. All right, fine. Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie huddled under the single umbrella and hurried off towards the station. Chloe watched the raindrops hitting the pavement and sighed. She'd just washed her hair last night. Now she'd have to do it all over again. If she'd known it was going to rain, she wouldn't have come out today. But then again, if she hadn't come out, she'd be stuck in the hotel with this dork. There's a traffic jam on 5th Avenue. We should probably take the subway too, Wyatt said, breaking her train of thought. But it's raining harder now. Wyatt took off his jacket, held it over his head, and said, Come on. It's only half a mile to the station. We'll make it quick. Chloe looked at him, and the image reminded her of a scene from a manga, the hero and heroine running through the rain under a shared piece of clothing. She shyly stepped closer. Wyatt draped the jacket over her head, his right arm naturally circling around her shoulders, and they stepped out into the rain. He used the jacket to shield her as much as possible, but every gust of wind sent cold droplets spattering against her arms and legs. To her surprise, Chloe found that she liked the cool sensation of the rain on her skin. Watch your step. Look out for puddles. It's definitely getting colder. We should take a hot shower when we get back so we don't get sick. If the dorm showers are busy, you can use the one at the hotel. Your mom extended the room for me. Chloe didn't respond. They finally reached the subway entrance. Wyatt wrung out his jacket, sending a cascade of water onto the ground. It was only then that Chloe noticed half of his body was completely soaked, while she had only a few stray drops on her. She pulled a pack of tissues from her purse. Seeing the water dripping from his hair, she stood on her tiptoes and gently dabbed at his forehead. But as he lowered his head to look at her, her hand froze in midair. Wyatt had a wicked smile on his face. If you had already agreed to be my girlfriend, I would have kissed you just now. Chloe snatched her hand back, shoved the entire pack of tissues into his hand, and, with her face burning, hurried into the station. Hey, wait for me, Wyatt called, chasing after her. Perhaps because of the rain, the subway car wasn't very crowded. Wyatt and Chloe found plenty of empty seats. Chloe sat down, and Wyatt slid in next to her. She gave him a disdainful look and scooted over. He scooted over too. She moved again. He followed, staying right beside her, until she was pressed into the corner and had nowhere else to go. Are you cold? He asked. No. Good. Because I'm freezing. As if on cue, he let out a loud sneeze. Chloe looked at his dripping hair and soaked shirt, then pulled 2 more tissues from her bag and handed them to him. After about 10 minutes on the train, Chloe got a text from Sophie. Sophie, you guys heading back? Chloe, on the subway now. Sophie, we just got to the dorm, but there's no hot water. Chloe, what are you going to do? Sophie, I don't know. We asked the RA, and she has no idea when he'll be back on. Wyatt had been sneakily reading their chat over her shoulder. Seeing that Chloe hadn't replied, he offered a suggestion. Why don't you have them come to the hotel to shower? They'll definitely have hot water there. My room is still booked. The 3 of them shared one umbrella. They must have gotten a little wet. It's easy to catch a cold when the temperature drops like this. Chloe quickly agreed. For one, he was right. For another, she thought that if all her roommates were at the hotel, it would prevent any more awkward situations where she was alone with him. She sent the hotel address to Sophie. Chloe, Wyatt is staying at the hotel tonight. Bring a change of clothes and go there. We'll meet you. Can you grab a clean outfit for me from my closet? Sophie on it. After reading the message, Sophie turned to the other 2. Isabel, Ashley, we're going to the Regency Grand. Wyatt has a room there, and we can shower. Ashley's eyes widened. Isn't that a 5-star hotel? What are you waiting for? Isabel said. Grab your clothes, let's go. The 3 of them quickly left the dorm and headed for the hotel. Wyatt and Chloe arrived at the hotel just a few minutes before Isabel, Sophie, and Ashley. Wyatt, you look like a drowned rat, Isabel exclaimed. The roads were jammed, so we took the subway, he explained. Then how is Chloe so dry? I used my jacket to block the rain for her. Chloe turned and walked toward the elevators, ignoring them. Wyatt shot the girls a look and led them after her. The 2 young women at the front desk stared in disbelief. They'd seen some strange things working at a hotel, but this was the first time they'd seen one guy bring 4 girls up to a room. Miranda had checked out that morning, and Chloe's room had been checked out as well, so now only Wyatt's suite remained. Once he swiped the key card, Isabel and the others made themselves at home, kicking off their shoes at the door and padding into the living area. Go ahead and shower if you want, Wyatt offered. Ashley was about to head for the bathroom, but Chloe, seeing Wyatt shivering in his wet clothes, spoke up quietly. Ashley, let him go first. He's soaked. All right, Ashley said, looking a bit sheepish. You go first, then. Wyatt smiled and disappeared into the bathroom. He was much faster than any of the girls would be. He was in and out in minutes. The suite had a living room, with the bedroom and bathroom connected. Although the bathroom door was frosted glass, Wyatt still brought the hairdryer out into the main room to avoid any awkwardness. As he was drying his hair, Isabel, who was lounging on the sofa, suddenly clutched her stomach. Cramps, she groaned. Wyatt looked at her pained expression. What's wrong? Period cramps, she said through gritted teeth. Oh, that? Well, they're supposed to hurt. It's a woman's lot to be in pain. You. Isabel pointed a finger at him, turning to Chloe for support. Chloe, are you hearing this? Chloe was speechless. Isabel turned back to Wyatt. Chloe and I are usually on the same cycle. Let's see if you're still talking big once her turn. Of course not, Wyatt said with a smirk, silently making a mental note of the date. After he finished his hair, he saw the 3 girls had completely taken over the sofa, so he sat down on the floor rug. Sophie checked the time. We're gonna head back soon. It's the weekend tomorrow. What's the rush? Isabel said. So what do we do after we all shower? How about we play cards? Nothing else to do anyway. Do you have any? There's a convenience store downstairs. Someone needs to go buy them. Swish. 3 pairs of eyes immediately landed on Wyatt. He sighed. What are we playing? Do you guys even know how? Who doesn't know how to play poker? And what's the penalty for losing? You get a strip of paper stuck to your face. Fine. Wyatt stood up and headed downstairs. By the time Ashley came out of the shower, Wyatt was gone. Where's Wyatt? You want to buy cards? Isabel said. Haha. You guys love ordering him around. Do you guys sell playing cards? Wyatt asked the clerk. Yeah. How many decks? 1 is enough. As he was about to pay, Wyatt remembered what Isabel had said. Hey, do you guys sell brown sugar? No, the clerk said, but the pharmacy next door has those instant brown sugar ginger tea packets. Great. Paid. Wyatt stuffed the cards in his pocket, went next door to the pharmacy, bought a $5 box of the ginger tea, and headed back up. When he walked in, he tossed the cards on the coffee table, then placed a box of tea in front of Chloe and Isabel. Isabel, I didn't buy this for you, he announced. You're just lucky you get to benefit from my girlfriend's light. Isabel's face lit up. I know, she said, beaming. Wyatt, you just shot way up on my book. I had no idea you were so thoughtful. Wyatt puffed out his chest. I'm a very considerate person. Chloe's face turned a shade of pink, because Wyatt had called her his girlfriend again. A 3, a 10, ace. I take it. Of the 5, Chloe and Sophie had no idea how to play poker, so they sat on the sidelines and watched. In this hand, Isabel was on a winning streak. She had a great hand, and a few moments later, she'd won the pot. I win, she crowed, throwing down her cards. She tore a paper towel into long strips, demanding to stick them on Wyatt and Ashley's faces. Accepting his defeat, Wyatt leaned forward and led her. After decorating Wyatt and Ashley, Isabel turned to the spectators. You two can't just watch. You have to play. I want to, Sophie said, but we don't know how. Then bet on someone. Whoever you bet on, you're on their team. If they lose, you get a paper strip too. Sophie quickly made her choice. I'll bet on you. Isabel's luck seemed to be on fire tonight. Chloe, what about you? Before Chloe could answer, Wyatt peeled the paper strip from his own forehead and stuck it on hers. She's on my team, obviously. You even have to ask. True. Then you wear one too. They dealt the next hand. Since teams had been chosen, Sophie, who had been sitting next to Chloe, moved to sit by Isabel. Chloe remained next to Wyatt. It was only while watching him play that she noticed how nice his hands were, long, slender fingers with well-defined knuckles, like they'd been carved from jade. Full house. You guys can't beat that. Huh, a 6. I win. Wyatt finished the round and immediately turned to her. How was that? Pretty good, right? Chloe snapped back to reality, realizing she'd been staring at his hands the entire time. Yeah, amazing, she said quickly, lowering her head and taking a flustered sip of her ginger tea. Paper strips, give them to me. They played another round. Half an hour flew by, and by then, even Chloe was starting to understand the rules. By then, everyone's face was also covered in a ridiculous amount of paper. Just as it was approaching 9 o'clock, Wyatt's phone buzzed. It was a message from Leo. Leo, holy shit. Wyatt, you were right. Leo, this Peterson guy is totally keeping a mistress. They went shopping together this afternoon. Leo, 5 images attached. Wyatt, nice work. Leo, I got soaked following him today. FCK, I'm shivering. I think I'm getting a cold. Wyatt, take a hot shower and get some sleep. Leo, I'll come to your school tomorrow to find you. Wyatt, I'm not back at school yet. Leo, what are you doing? Wyatt, playing poker. Leo, poker? Wyatt put his phone down and turned to the girls. Hey, let's take a picture to remember this. Seeing each other's faces plastered with paper, everyone thought it was a great idea. Wyatt pulled Chloe into the middle of the group. Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie crowded in, striking poses for the camera. Chloe was reluctant at first, but with her 3 roommates so enthusiastic, she figured her face was mostly obscured anyway. She half-heartedly agreed. Wyatt, of course, wasn't entirely well-behaved, draping his arm over her shoulder for the picture. Thankfully, he removed it as soon as the photo was taken. Let me see. Haha, this one is hilarious. Wyatt, send it to the group chat. You got it. Wyatt sent the photo to their group chat, and everyone immediately started zooming in and laughing. He then forwarded the same picture to Leo. Wyatt, image attached. Leo, wait, you're playing poker in a hotel room with 4 girls. Wyatt, yup. Leo, when are you going to introduce me? Leo, I like all of them. Wyatt, we'll see. Leo, bro. Leo, dad. Leo, daddy. It's getting late. We should head back to the dorms. Yeah, let's go. Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie grabbed their bags and started putting on their shoes, ready to leave. They saw Chloe doing the same. Isabel asked teasingly, "Chloe, what are you doing?" Chloe looked up, confused. "We're going back to the dorm, right? You're coming too?" "Why, yes." Isabel grinned. "But then you'd be leaving poor Wyatt all alone in this big, empty room." Wyatt waved a hand dismissively, putting on a pitiful expression. "It's fine, I'm used to it. Come back and visit any time, ladies." Chloe's face flushed again. She didn't know how to respond, so she just knelt on the floor, pretending to tie her shoelaces. As she did, she noticed Wyatt's shoes, still soaked from the rain. She put her own foot next to his, measuring the size, then quickly stood up and left with her roommates. Wyatt had intended to walk them out, but when Chloe saw him start to follow, she pulled the hotel room door shut behind her. After a night in the hotel, Wyatt woke up on Saturday morning and sent Chloe a text. "Wyatt, you up?" No reply for a long time. He figured she was getting him back for sleeping the day before. So, he decided to give her a taste of her own medicine. "Wyatt, why aren't you answering?" "Wyatt, it's almost 9. I'm so bored by myself." "Wyatt, answer me." "Wyatt, I miss you." "Wyatt." Chloe saw every single message he sent. She was deliberately ignoring him because she was busy. But when his messages started getting more and more mushy, she finally replied. "Chloe, I'm busy. Shut up for a minute." "Wyatt, okay." Chloe walked into the second floor of the mall, scanned the storefronts, and headed straight for the Nike store. A sales associate greeted her with a bright smile. "Hi, looking for some shoes today?" Chloe nodded. "Let me know which ones you like." Chloe walked over to a display, pointed at a pair of classic, all-white Air Force Ones, and said, "These." "The Air Force Ones are super popular with college girls," the associate said. "We might not have your size in stock. Are you a 6, 7, or 8? Chloe knelt, held her thumb and index finger up to her own shoe to show a rough length, and said, "I need them this big." The sales associate looked confused for a moment. "Oh, you're not buying for yourself." Chloe nodded. "You're buying for your boyfriend," the associate said, her smile returning. "Most guys are around a size 10. Let me grab one and you can compare." Chloe wanted to correct her, but then figured she'd never see this person again, so she just let it go. "How does this look?" The associate placed the shoe on the floor. Chloe put her foot next to it and measured with her hand. "Looks about right. Should I box them up for you?" "Yes, please." After buying the shoes, Chloe also picked out a pair of socks for herself. Her plan was to tell Wyatt, "I went to buy socks, and just happened to buy you a pair of shoes." She paid and left the store, heading back to the hotel. Ding dong. Hearing the doorbell, Wyatt shot up from the sofa and ran to open it. Seeing Chloe, he scratched his head and smiled. "I've been waiting forever. What were you so busy with this morning?" Chloe ignored him, squeezing past him into the room. She placed the bag on the coffee table and sat down on the sofa, deliberately saying nothing. Wyatt walked over, frowning, his gaze shifting from her to the shopping bag on the table. He reached for it, and when Chloe didn't object, he pulled out the shoebox. He opened it and saw the shoes inside. The size looked about right for him. "Are these for me?" Chloe tried to sound nonchalant. "I saw your shoes were wet, so I just grabbed these for you." "So, when you said you were busy, you were actually out buying shoes for me?" "Of course not." Chloe jumped to her feet, flustered. I want to buy a pair of socks, and I just happened to buy these shoes too." Wyatt had heard of buying socks as an add-on to buying shoes, but never the other way around. He knew it was just an excuse, but he didn't expose her. He simply sat down and tried them on. "They're a perfect fit. How did you know my size?" Chloe turned her head away, feigning indifference. "I just guessed." Wyatt pointed to his backpack. "Checkout is at noon. I'm heading back after lunch." Chloe just said, "Oh, it's going to be raining for the next few days, and the temperature is dropping. Make sure you wear more layers." "You're so naggy. Let's go eat. After that, I'll get out of your hair." Wyatt didn't throw away his old shoes. He put them in a plastic bag and stuffed them in his backpack. They found a casual diner near the hotel for lunch. Chloe didn't have much of an appetite. When the food came, she immediately scooped half of her portion into Wyatt's bowl. "Not hungry, mm." Wyatt pushed the soup towards her. "The soup is hot. Drink more of it, and less spicy or cold stuff for a few days." Chloe was reminded of the ginger tea from the other night. She looked up at Wyatt and saw he was already looking at her. She quickly picked up her spoon and began to drink her soup in small sips. "If you miss me, you can video call." "I will not. Then I'll call you." They walked to the subway entrance. Wyatt pulled out his phone to check the weather. "It's supposed to be a heavy rain around 3. I should get going." "Oh." Wyatt took a few steps, then turned back to see Chloe standing there, motionless. He walked right back to her, opened his arms, and pulled her into a hug. "You." Chloe pushed against his chest for a moment, but when she realized he wasn't letting go, she surrendered. "I'm going," he whispered in her ear. He let go and stepped onto the escalator, slowly disappearing from her sight. Chloe bit her lip, the tips of her ears bright red. She stomped her foot lightly and muttered under her breath, "Jerk. Always taking advantage." She turned to head back to her school. For some reason, the walk back felt strangely empty, like something was missing. She forgot to ask if he was coming next week. She forgot to ask about his female business partner. She regretted it now, but even if Wyatt were still here, she probably wouldn't have had the courage to ask anyway. Maybe, she thought, maybe I should go visit him next weekend? The heavy rain lasted into the evening. When Wyatt got out of the subway, he didn't want to get Chloe's new shoes wet, so he changed back into his old, damp ones and ran back to the dorm. With the rain, business at the market was slow. Only Sam and Valerie were watching the store. Chris and Alex were back in the dorm. Seeing Wyatt return, Alex immediately came over. "Wyatt, was that really your girlfriend's mom who came to the store on Friday?" "Yeah. How old is your mother-in-law?" "Why are you asking?" "She's had a lot of class." "Is she married?" Wyatt, taking off his jacket and grabbing a towel, snapped. "If she wasn't married, where do you think my girlfriend came from? Get the hell away from me. You thinking of becoming my stepdad or something?" Alex just grinned. Just asking." Wyatt ignored him. He dried his hair, stripped off his wet clothes, borrowed Chris's laundry card, and went to take a shower. When he came out, he threw his 2 days' worth of dirty clothes into a bucket with some detergent and started stomping on them with his bare feet. "Chris," he asked, "how were the vending machine sales this weekend?" "Not bad. The ones in the academic buildings were slow, but the library, student center, and gym machines did great. Alex and I had to restock them twice." Wyatt nodded. "Okay, tomorrow we'll get Jessica on a call. We need her to talk to her uncle and get our machines into the Brookside campus before the end of the month." "And then what?" Chris looked a little worried. He knew that without Jessica's connections, the vending business wouldn't be this successful. Once they were in both campuses, what was the next step? They couldn't just stop there. Wyatt already had a plan. He smiled. "This week, I'm going over to the College of Applied Technology to talk to their head of logistics." "You have a contact there?" "Not exactly a contact, but I think I can make it happen. And you're not off the hook. The University of Industry is right near our campus. I want you to go over there and feel them out." "All right, I'll give it a shot. Let's get some business cards printed tomorrow. It'll make things easier. It's hard to get taken seriously when you look like a student." "Good idea." As they were talking, Ethan, the class VP, knocked and entered the room. He walked straight up to Wyatt. "Wyatt, did you get the advisor's message? The university is holding a track meet in 2 weeks. We need to sign up our classmates for events." Wyatt laughed. "I was in the shower. I'm going to be pretty busy next week. You can handle it." Ethan didn't refuse. He saw it as an opportunity to shine. "Fine, I'll take care of it. Thanks for your hard work." Ethan, who had been about to leave, stopped in his tracks. He turned back, a displeased look on his face. "Thanks for your hard work" is something a superior says to a subordinate. Wyatt hadn't expected him to be so sensitive. He waved a dismissive hand. "All right, I get it. You can go now." Monday, October 20th. A new week began. For most college students, the days of the week blended together. But for Chloe, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were the hardest to get through. On Thursdays, the thought that the weekend was just one day away made time fly. And on Fridays, the anticipation of seeing that dumb, goofy dork Wyatt made her feel a little excited. After a quick breakfast at the dining hall, Chloe and her 3 roommates went to class. The first period was sight singing and ear training. The second was instrumental performance. Her major had a relatively light workload. No dance classes, and most professors were pretty laid back. Seeing Isabel and Ashley spacing out, Chloe secretly pulled out her phone and opened her messages. She tapped on her chat with Wyatt. Their last 2 messages were just good night. She typed something in the input box, thought for a long time, couldn't figure out what to say, and closed it. She saw a red dot on her social media icon and, curious, tapped on it. Isabel had posted a selfie from the dorm this morning, perfectly made up, with the caption, "Hate rainy days." Ashley had posted one last night, a half-faced selfie with the caption, "Thinking of growing my hair out. Thoughts?" Seeing that Isabel and Sophie had already liked it, Chloe added her own like. She scrolled down. The next post was from Wyatt from around 6 o'clock last night. The caption read, "Shoes for my girlfriend. Ha 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 ha." Below it was a picture of the all-white Air Force One she had bought him. Chloe's heart leaped in her throat, because below the picture, there were a lot of comments. "Isabel, no wonder you disappeared so early this weekend, Chloe. You were out buying him shoes. Sophie, I can just imagine the creepy smile on your face. Ashley, show off. You're such a show-off." Those 3 comments weren't the problem. The problem was in the list of likes. Her mother's name was there. That jerk. Chloe, her face burning, switched back to her messaging app and fired off a text to Wyatt. "Chloe, Delete the post you made yesterday. Now. Wyatt didn't have a class on Monday morning and was just sitting down to eat in the dining hall when he got her message. He played dumb. Wyatt, why delete it? Chloe, just delete it. Wyatt, relax, I blocked your mom from seeing it. Chloe, you liar. Chloe, I saw that she liked it. Wyatt had forgotten that if you have mutual friends, you can see each other's likes. Wyatt, well, Anne already liked it. It's too late to delete it now. Chloe, shameless jerk bastard. Chloe, I'm not talking to you anymore. Chloe, that mother-in-law comment on Friday had been Wyatt's way of both stating his position and testing Miranda's attitude. Her subsequent silence on the matter was, in his eyes, tacit approval. Since his future mother-in-law was on board, there was no need to hide the post from her. Wyatt, I was wrong. Wyatt, forgive me. Chloe, no. Wyatt, I'll bow down to you. Chloe, go ahead then. Wyatt, I just did. Chloe, I didn't see it. Record a video. Wyatt, Chloe. Wyatt, you become devious. Wyatt, but I love it. Chloe didn't reply. After breakfast, Wyatt went to class. After a long lecture, which ended at 11:30, Ethan walked up to the podium. Everyone quiet down for a minute. I have an announcement, he said, tapping the desk. The chatter in the classroom slowly died down. Ethan cleared his throat, adopting an official tone. The university is holding a track and field meet next week. Each freshman class is required to have participants in at least 3 events. I'll post the list of events in the group me later. If you're interested, please sign up with me. I need to submit the final list by Friday, so I hope you'll all cooperate. As soon as he finished, the room broke into discussion. While younger students might get excited about a sports day, college students, with their already light schedules, seemed largely uninterested. Wyatt, remembering he needed to hire 2 part-time workers for the vending machines, also walked up to the front of the room. Ethan saw him coming and felt a surge of annoyance. I already said I would handle this. Why are you sticking your nose in it? He thought it but didn't dare say it. Hey, everyone, I have something to say too, Wyatt announced. This has nothing to do with the track meet. You've probably all noticed the vending machines that appeared in the academic buildings last week. I'm the one who brought those in. Right now, I need to hire 2 part-time stockers. The job is simple. When a machine is running low, you just go restock it. We provide an electric scooter to get around. The pay is $800 a month cash. If you're interested, just send me a private message. Wyatt had barely finished speaking when someone from the audience shouted, Wyatt, the vending machines in the school, those are yours too? They are. Dude, you're a legend. That's so cool. Wyatt, let us in on your next startup. The compliments flew. Wyatt laughed. We'll see. All right, if there's nothing else, let's all go get some lunch. As he left the building, Wyatt and his roommates headed to the dining hall. They had just started eating when Jessica found them, tray in hand. Chris, sitting opposite Wyatt, smartly vacated his seat. Jessica sat down without any ceremony. How are today's sales? She asked immediately. Wyatt rolled his eyes. We just got out of class. The back-end data is on the computer. Wyatt, I have a question. Can our machines sell tissues? They can, but you can't make much money off tissues. Jessica knew that, but she argued, but the demand is huge. Almost everyone needs them at some point. Small money is still money. Wyatt paused, putting down his chopsticks. When I was at the factory, I think I saw these small, mechanical tissue dispensers. They're tiny, like 2 shoeboxes, and they don't need electricity. You put in a quarter, and a pack of tissues drops out. We could install them outside the restrooms, but you'd have to run that by your uncle. No problem, Jessica agreed instantly. I'll talk to him. When can you get the machines? Anytime, Wyatt said with a smile. While you're talking to your uncle, ask him when we can expand our business to the Brookside campus. So soon? Yes, the sooner the better. Securing the market is crucial. We need to skim all the cream off the top before anyone else realizes how profitable this is. Jessica nodded firmly. I'll go see my uncle tonight. She was too excited to eat. She scarfed down a few more bites and then rushed off. Chris chuckled. When it comes to making money, she seems even more motivated than we are. Wyatt, who knew the backstory, said quietly, she's had it tough. Her mom passed away a long time ago, and her dad remarried and basically ignored her after that. She's probably so focused on money because she lacks a sense of security. Her dad's a real piece of work then. Achoo! Charles Evans sniffled, his gaze fixed on the wedding photo in his hands. In the picture, the woman standing beside him was not his current wife, but Jessica's birth mother, Diane. To the outside world, he was a deadbeat dad. But very few people knew that it was Diane herself, lying on her deathbed, who had made him promise to marry her best friend. One was the husband she loved most in the world. The other was the best friend she cherished. She believed that if they were together, Jessica would never lack for love or care. But Diane had passed away before she could explain it to Jessica. And after she was gone, anything Charles said sounded like a lie, a selfish excuse. That evening, after dropping Jessica off at her dorm, her uncle, Peter Evans, called her father. Charles saw the caller ID and, assuming it was about his daughter, answered immediately. "Hello. Hey, Charles. I just met with Jessica. What did she want?" Charles asked anxiously. "It's about what I told you before. She and 2 other students started a vending machine company, and now they want to expand. I've already approved it. Is it a safe investment?" Charles asked, concerned. "It seems to be. The vending machines are really popular on campus. $30,000 is a lot of money." Charles mused. 30,000? Peter sounded confused. "Jessica told me she only invested 10,000. Now Charles was confused. "Only 10,000? That's right. Her business partner, what's his name? I'd like to meet him. Wyatt. He's a freshman in the finance program. The kid's got a real head for business. He opened a fresh market on campus right after school started, and it's doing great. Now he's registered a whole company. I'm guessing his family is in business too. If you want to find him, you can probably catch him at the market. It's on the main strip off campus. I'll send you a picture." "Okay," Charles said. "I got it." Inside Cece's fresh market, Wyatt was doing the books, his long fingers flying across the calculator so fast the voice prompt couldn't keep up. After tallying the sales from all 30-plus vending machines, he arrived at an exciting number: $7,612. That much. That's an average of about $250 per machine. After factoring out location fees, electricity, labor, and the cost of the drinks, our daily profit is around $3,000. Jessica, sitting beside him, was ecstatic. "I have a 25% stake. Does that mean I made $750 today?" "You could say that," Wyatt grinned. "Awesome. $750 a day is $22,500 a month. That's $270,000 a year. At this rate, I'll have a down payment for an apartment by the time I graduate." "It's better than that. Your uncle already agreed to get things started on the Brookside campus this week, right? Our campus has about 20,000 students, and so does theirs. So, starting next week, your daily earnings will be closer to $1,500. And for every new school we expand to, you can add another $750. Jessica looked like she was about to jump for joy. Every day was now filled with thrilling new possibilities. "I'm heading back then. I'll be back tomorrow at noon. You guys keep up the good work," she said, practically floating out of the store. Wyatt smiled and went back to the market's accounts. The store itself brought in a decent daily income, which Wyatt transferred into his brokerage account every night. The bull market was just getting started. With a week of strong gains, he could double his capital. He had no intention of missing out on that opportunity. After finishing the books, and once Alex returned from his last delivery run, they were all ready to head back to the dorm. "Wait, forgot something," Chris said as he was locking up. He reopened the door, ran to the cash register, and grabbed a stack of business cards, handing them to Wyatt. The cards were simple and elegant. A gray and white logo, with a line of gold foil text in the center. Wyatt, founder, C&W Commerce below, were his phone number and email, with a QR code in the bottom left corner. The back was blank. "You're going to Leo's University tomorrow, right? These should come in handy." "Yeah, these look great. Should we buy some gifts like last time?" Wyatt shook his head. "No need. I swiped 3 cartons of my dad's Marlboros when I left home. They've been sitting in my suitcase. I'll just bring those." Then he turned to Alex. "Tomorrow, in our philosophy class, I need you to sign me in. I don't want to go to that class either. It's a huge lecture hall. Just sign the sheet and go to sleep." Sam chimed in. "Wyatt, I can sign you in. You always sit in the front row. How are you going to do that?" Back in the dorm, the 4 of them took turns showering. Wyatt was always first, eager to get on his video call with Chloe. He pulled the curtain around his bed, propped his pillow up against the headboard, and sent a video call request to Chloe. She answered, and her face, or half of it, appeared on the screen. "Wyatt, you look tired." "Chloe, a little." "Wyatt, you should probably get some sleep then. Your mom specifically warned me about this." "Chloe, why do you listen to my mom so much?" "Wyatt, how could I not?" "Chloe, okay, I'm asking you. Do you listen to me, or do you listen to my mom? You can only pick one." "Wyatt, of course I listen to you." Chloe pouted, then mumbled, "That's more like it." They shared stories from their day, little things that had happened. As they got to know each other better, the need for constant topics of conversation lessened. After a brief silence, Wyatt changed the subject. "Do you like dogs?" "I like cats." "Do you like Robert Frost's poetry?" "I read in high school." "I wouldn't say I like it." "What are your thoughts on Van Gogh's Starry Night?" "I don't have it." "What's your interpretation of the Mona Lisa's smile?" "What are you getting at?" "Let me see your legs." "Ha ha 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 ha." Chloe wasn't wearing headphones. She thought her roommates were busy with their own things and couldn't hear Wyatt's voice. She was wrong. The moment he spoke, all three of them burst out laughing. Chloe quickly pulled the blanket up to her eyes, glaring at Wyatt through the screen. "No way," she hissed. "Get lost." Isabel, ever the instigator, yelled out, "Wyatt, video call me. I'll show you mine." Ashley joined in. "Me too." Sophie, not wanting to be left out, added, "Me three." Even though he knew they were joking, Wyatt beamed with delight. Chloe, seeing his expression, pulled the phone under the blanket and whispered in the most menacing tone she could muster, "If you dare look, you are dead." Wyatt, Okay, I get it." Chloe, "I'm gonna sleep." Wyatt, so suddenly, "Chloe, what else do you want?" Wyatt, "Put the phone up to your face." Chloe, "Why?" Wyatt, "Just do it." Chloe obediently complied. Wyatt lifted his hand to the phone's microphone and planted a loud, wet kiss on his own arm. Mwah! Chloe's eyes went wide, and her face instantly turned a shade of deep crimson. The temperature had dropped, but right now, Chloe felt like she was burning up. She quickly ended the video call, burrowed under her covers, and pressed a hand to her racing heart, trying to calm down. Meanwhile, in the men's dorm, Alex was lying in bed, furiously typing on his phone, summarizing everything Wyatt had just said into his notes app. He gave the note a title, The Love Playbook. Wyatt slept through both of his Tuesday morning classes. He just couldn't wrap his head around his advanced math courses. The textbook looked like ancient scripture, and the professor's lectures were more effective than any sleeping pill. At noon, as Wyatt was arriving at the dining hall, he got a call from Valerie. "Hello, Wyatt. Someone's at the store looking for you." "Who is it?" "I don't know him." "A middle-aged guy." "A middle-aged guy?" Wyatt had no idea who it could be. "Tell him to wait. I'll be over after I grab lunch." "Okay." Valerie hung up and smiled at Charles Evans. "Sir, he's eating at the dining hall. He might be a little while." Charles nodded pleasantly. "That's fine. I'll wait here." Valerie said no more, simply offering him a chair to sit. 20 minutes later, Wyatt arrived. He saw the man sitting inside and walked over, frowning. "Sir, you were looking for me?" The man was dressed in a formal suit. His hair was half gray, and he wore thick glasses. He had a tired, academic look about him. He sized Wyatt up. Peter had already told him everything. He didn't beat around the bush, extending a friendly hand. "Hello," he said with a smile. "I'm Jessica, Evans's father." "Jessica's father?" "The deadbeat." "Mr. Evans," Wyatt said, catching himself. "Can I help you with something?" "It's nothing major," Charles said kindly. "I just wanted to have a little chat. If you have a moment." "I do." Wyatt gestured outside. "Let's find somewhere else to talk. The store will get busy soon, and Jessica might stop by." Charles nodded. He led Wyatt out of the market and to his car, a Volkswagen Phaeton, and drove them off campus. Everything Wyatt knew about Charles Evans came from Jessica. In his mind, the man was a deadbeat who had abandoned his family. But in their brief exchange, Wyatt found the real man to be very different from the image he'd formed. "Has Jessica mentioned me to you?" Charles asked. "She has." "What did she say?" "Not much," Wyatt answered honestly. "But she seems to hate you." A bitter smile touched Charles's lips. He felt a deep sense of helplessness, but didn't try to explain the whole complicated story to an outsider. He just said, his voice full of a quiet sadness, "I have failed her in many ways, but I have always loved her and her mother. There's just a very big misunderstanding between us. Every family has its own problems." Wyatt had no desire to get involved in someone else's drama. "Mr. Evans, you must have a reason for seeking me out today. You can just tell me directly." Charles nodded, getting straight to the point. "How much did Jessica really invest in the vending machine business?" $10,000. "As far as I know, she has 30,000. The other 20 is with me, too," Wyatt admitted. "She asked me to invest it for her in the stock market. I promised her interest and dividends." "The stock market?" "Yes. Sir, if you're worried, I can return the money to her." "That won't be necessary for now," Charles said, shaking his head. "And don't tell her I came to see you today." "Okay. How is the vending machine business?" Charles asked. "It's good. Net profit is around $3,000 a day. Sales might dip a bit as winter approaches, but it will definitely still be profitable." "What's your next move?" "Expand. Get our machines into more universities." "Do you have a plan?" "With Dean Evans's help, the Brookside campus should be set up in the next couple of weeks. And tonight, I'm heading to the College of Applied Technology for the same reason." Charles paused for a moment. Vending is the future. Others will notice this industry. You're going to face huge competition very soon, so you have to expand fast. "I know that, but we don't have the connections, so..." Charles knew that, without help, a few college students could never scale up a business like this. That was why he was here. "My name is Charles Evans. I'm the Vice Dean of the Gabelli School of Business at Fordham University. You can find my profile on the university's website. The Vice Dean of Administration is a colleague of mine. Give me your contact info. Once I've spoken with the university, I'll have someone from their logistics department get in touch with you. He took out his phone and added, also, the Vice President of NYU is a college classmate of mine. We both studied at the Toulouse School of Economics. He should be able to help me out as well. If that goes through, you can expand there at the same time. Thank you, Mr. Evans, Wyatt said, his heart suddenly racing. His hands were trembling. He thought this man was just a professor. He never imagined Jessica's father was the vice dean of Fordham's business school. For most college students, their professors were the highest social tier they could access. A dean from Fordham was someone you only saw at guest lectures or on the financial news. He had thought Peter Evans was Jessica's big connection, but her own father was a powerhouse. If he had known this from the start, he would have been begging her to be a partner. In a university setting, connections were more valuable than anything. A single word from the right person could accomplish more than weeks of hard work. They exchanged numbers. Everything I'm doing is for my daughter, Charles said. So, if Jessica runs into any problems from now on, I expect you to inform me immediately. Absolutely. You can get out here. And remember, not a word of this to anyone. Understood. Wyatt got out and watched the Phaeton drive away. I hit the jackpot, he thought, feeling giddy. I really hit the jackpot. He was practically floating when he got back to the store. The sight of Jessica sitting at the computer, looking at the morning sales data, brought him back down to earth. Wyatt handed her a container of pre-cut watermelon, his face a mask of fawning respect. For you, our great campus queen. Have some watermelon. Jessica looked up, completely baffled. What's gotten into you today? Did the sun rise in the west? What are you talking about? I'm always this generous. Jessica, having finished with the sales data, shot him a dismissive look, grabbed the watermelon, and walked out. As she was nearing her dorm, she got a video call from her grandmother. She answered immediately. Grandma, have you eaten? The kind, smiling face of an elderly woman appeared on the screen. I have. Have you eaten? I have. Grandma, look, my friend gave me this watermelon. It's so sweet. Jess, I want some. Another face popped into the frame, a boy of about 12 with a chubby, cheerful face. He was Noah, Jessica's cousin, the son of her aunt. Like Jessica, he had been raised by their grandmother. Though they were cousins, they were as close as siblings. Jessica teased him. Here, you can have it. Noah rolled his eyes and stomped away, sulking. Jessica burst out laughing, her heart full. Her grandmother, seeing her so happy, smiled her gentle, loving smile. Leo stood at the university gate, scanning the crowds of students flowing out. One hand was shoved in his pocket, his gaze flicking between his phone and the rapidly darkening sky. Damn it, dude, where are you? He grumbled to himself. After 2 straight days of rain, the sun was setting earlier and earlier. At 5:30, it already felt like night. Wyatt jogged out of the subway station and hurried toward the entrance of Riverwood Tech, spotting Leo's silhouette from a distance. Leo. Hey, Leo. Hearing the call, Leo's shoulders slumped in exasperation. As Wyatt got closer, he snapped. Could you please not yell my name like that in public? Wyatt just grinned, slinging an arm around Leo's shoulders. As they walked onto campus, he said, I've been doing it for years. It's a habit. Anyway, let's skip the small talk. We're short on time. Do you know where Director Peterson's office is? Yeah, I'll take you. The hell you will, Wyatt said. I'm going alone. You stay out of it. Leo's face flushed. What the hell? I did all the prep work, and now that you're here, you're just going to cut me out. Are you an idiot? Wyatt explained patiently. His wife definitely doesn't know about his mistress. The fact that we know gives us leverage. If you go in there with me, what happens if you decide to make your life hell later? I don't go to school here. What about you? The realization finally dawned on Leo. He scratched his head. Okay, fine. You go alone. His office is on the 3rd floor. 3rd door on the left. Got it. Wyatt followed Leo to the base of the administrative building, then zipped up the stairs, his messenger bag slung over one shoulder. He saw a sliver of light from under the office door, straightened his shirt, and knocked twice. Director Peterson was just about to pack up and leave for the day. Hearing the knock, he called out irritably, Come in. Wyatt pushed the door open and walked in with a cheerful smile. Peterson glanced up, assuming he was just another student from the university, and went back to pretending to be busy. What is it? He asked without looking up. Wyatt pulled a business card from his pocket and placed it on the desk. Director Peterson, hello. I'm the head of C&W Commerce. I'm here to talk to you about a potential university corporate partnership. Courtesy before combat. That was Wyatt's principle. If he came in swinging, revealing his leverage from the start, things could get ugly fast with no room to negotiate. The proper channels had to be followed first. Peterson picked up the card. Leaning back in his ergonomic chair, he finally gave Wyatt a proper look. Starting your own business this young? Yes, sir. Just a small venture. And what is it that you do? Wyatt repeated the same pitch he'd given Peter Evans, but Peterson seemed unimpressed. And which schools have you partnered with before? He asked, his tone flat. We already have our vending machines on both of Fordham's campuses, Wyatt said, smoothly. We're also in final talks with NYU and Columbia. Those deals are pretty much locked in. At this, Peterson's interest was finally piqued. He wasn't interested in Wyatt, or even the project itself, but in Wyatt's connections. Pulling off something like this required network, and given Wyatt's age, Peterson naturally assumed he was just a frontman. Behind him, there had to be someone with serious pull. Wyatt reached into his bag and pulled out a bottle of premium bourbon he'd picked up on the way. He placed it gently on the desk. I was in a bit of a rush, and I wasn't sure what you liked, Director. I hope you don't mind. Peterson glanced at the bottle, his expression unchanging. As the director of logistics, he was used to receiving gifts, expensive luxury goods, fine wines, premium cigars. A single bottle of bourbon barely registered. His gaze seemed to say, "You're trying to test a man in my position with this?" Wyatt read the disdain in his eyes and quickly added, "If you have some time, Director, would you do me the honor of joining me for a casual dinner?" Peterson shook his head. "I'm busy tonight. I already have plans. Add me on Facebook, and we can connect tomorrow." "No problem." Wyatt added him, exchanged a few more pleasantries, and left. Peterson tossed the business card into a drawer, stood up, put on his coat, and slipped the bottle of bourbon into his briefcase before heading out. He didn't drive home. Instead, he went straight to the apartment complex where his mistress lived. In the parking lot, he sent a text to his wife. "Honey, something came up at work. I'm going to be late." She replied almost instantly. "Okay, should I save you some dinner?" "No need. I'll eat at the university." "Okay." Shoving his phone back in his pocket, Peterson scanned his surroundings carefully before getting out of the car and heading upstairs. The moment he opened the door, a woman in her late 20s ran to him barefoot, throwing herself into his arms and purring, "Honey." Peterson instantly felt invigorated. Wyatt and Leo were eating in the campus cafeteria. After Wyatt recounted what had happened in the office, Leo asked with a frown, "You guys are friends on Facebook now, so you'll have dinner tomorrow, and this should be settled, right?" "Hard to say," Wyatt said with a cold smirk. "I get the feeling this Peterson guy has a big appetite. One dinner isn't going to satisfy him. So what if he makes an outrageous demand? Are you going to accept?" Leo pressed. "Of course not," Wyatt said. "If I can't protect my own interests, then we'll just burn it all down. I've got nothing to lose." Leo didn't push the topic. He sighed. "I'm so bored here at school. If this deal goes through, at least I'll have something to do. My roommates are one bigger idiot than the next. The worst is the guy who locks himself in the bathroom to watch porn all night. A total jackass." Leo's resentment for his roommates seemed bottomless. Once he started, he couldn't stop. Wyatt just listened as he ate, nodding along occasionally. Just as Wyatt was finishing his meal, Leo suddenly changed the subject. "Hey, by the way, my birthday is the day after tomorrow. Isn't your dad's birthday around now, too?" Wyatt had almost forgotten. Leo and his dad's birthdays were only a few days apart. Every year around October, he'd remember, but since his rebirth, it had completely slipped his mind. He quickly pulled out his phone and texted his dad, David. "Dad, happy birthday." David had gotten chewed out at work and was in a foul mood. To make matters worse, on his own birthday, his wife Sarah had discovered and confiscated his secret stash of cash. He was furious. "David, happy my ass." "David, no money. What's there to be happy about?" "Wyatt, just Venmo'd you." "David, attaboy. Miss you. When are you coming home?" "David, son, I'm looking, but I don't see anything in my Venmo." "David, did you send it to the wrong person?" "Wyatt, oh, you're not in my contacts. I sent it to Mom." "David, well, I guess Mom's happy then." "David, you little shit." Director Peterson was thoroughly enjoying his life. He had a cushy job, a reasonably peaceful family, and even though his wife had lost her looks with age, he had a tender young mistress for a spiritual and physical collision every few days. You could say he was winning at life. He'd arrive at the university at 9, sign a few documents, take a lunch break that stretched until 4 in the afternoon, play a few rounds of solitaire on his computer, and before he knew it, it was time to go home. Around 5, Peterson got a call from his cousin, who had wrangled a couple of buddies for dinner and drinks and wanted to know if Peterson was free. Peterson thought for a moment, then replied, "You're making $7,000 a month. Stop eating out all the time. As it happens, someone's treating me to dinner tonight. Bring your friends. I'll take you out for a real meal." "You got it, bro." This wasn't the first time Peterson had pulled a move like this, and his cousin was used to it. At 6 o'clock, he and his two good-for-nothing friends were waiting for Peterson at the school gate. As soon as they got in the car, the cousins started laying on the flattery, calling Peterson bro this and bro that, acting closer to him than to his own brother. The two friends chimed in with their own praise. And Peterson ate it up. He sat in the car, murmuring things like, "Oh, come on, and don't talk nonsense," and "I'm just a working stiff," but he was grinning from ear to ear. Wyatt left his campus as soon as class was over and had booked a private room at a fairly high-end restaurant. He waited from 5:30 until 6:30 when Peterson finally sauntered in. Wyatt had assumed he'd be alone and had only ordered 6 dishes, thinking there would be plenty for 2. He hadn't expected Peterson to bring 3 extra people, instantly turning a party of 2 into a party of 5. Director Peterson, and these gentlemen are? Peterson chuckled. These are a few of my friends. We ran into each other on the way out of work. If you mind, we can always reschedule. Reschedule my ass, Wyatt cursed internally. You brought them all here. If I say I'm mine now, do you think you'd ever agree to meet me again? Outwardly, he smiled. Not at all, not at all. Director, please come in. Wyatt led them to the private room, then excused himself and went back to the front counter to add several more dishes. Hosting a dinner had its own unspoken rules. The number of people, the types of dishes, it was a science. Today's group was 5 people, and he needed to make it look effortless. As for drinks, Wyatt had a plan. He'd asked Peterson what he liked to drink. If it was a $100 bottle, he'd swallow the cost. If it was a few hundred, he'd grit his teeth and pay for it. After all, you had to spend money to get things done. But if, after this huge meal and expensive alcohol, Peterson still said no, then however much money I spend tonight, I'll make you spit it all back out in one go. Wyatt returned to the room and sat down next to Peterson. After politely greeting his guests, he asked with a smile, Director, what do you usually like to drink? I can have the waiter bring something over. Peterson didn't hold back. A single malt scotch will do. The good stuff doesn't give you a headache. When the waiter came in with the appetizers, Wyatt gritted his teeth and ordered a top-shelf bottle. Once the food and drinks arrived, the conversation began. Director Peterson, putting vending machines on campus is the future. I think it benefits you, me, the school, and the students. Just as Wyatt was getting into his pitch, Peterson clapped him on the shoulder. I know. I've got it under control. Let me just do a little research, and I'll get back to you. Come on, drink up. Several times, Wyatt tried to steer the conversation back to the vending machines, but Peterson always found an excuse to deflect. Wyatt could only ask how long it would take. Peterson thought for a moment. Just a day or 2. Hearing this, Wyatt dropped the subject. The rest of the dinner had nothing to do with him. It was just Peterson, his cousin, and the 2 sycophants chatting away. When Wyatt went to pay the bill, he discovered the meal had cost him nearly $300. At a time when many college students' monthly allowance was less than $200, it was an astronomical sum. Though Wyatt wasn't short on cash, he was frugal by nature. The thought of spending that much on one meal made his heart ache. He took a cab back to campus, assuming Peterson would drag things out until Thursday. To his surprise, he got a message on Wednesday. Peterson, if you're free tonight, we can talk about the profit sharing. Wyatt frowned at the message. Profit sharing? You mean the location and electricity fees will be part of the cut? Peterson didn't explain, simply replying, we'll talk in person. That evening, Wyatt met Peterson again. This time, Peterson came alone, but he still ordered a bottle of top-shelf scotch. He had taken the unfinished bottle from the night before home with him, and now he was trying to pull the same trick again. Wyatt didn't say anything. If he could settle things tonight, a few $100s was a price he was willing to pay. Tonight, Peterson didn't beat around the bush. He held up 3 fingers. I can get you the lowest possible rates for the space and electricity, but I want 3/10 of your gross sales as my commission. 30% of gross sales? Wyatt shot up from his seat. Director, our profit margins on these machines aren't as high as you think. There's the depreciation of the machines, the cost of the drinks, labor costs, and a bunch of other miscellaneous expenses. If you take 30% of the gross, there's nothing left for me to earn. If Peterson had asked for 30% of the net profit, Wyatt might have considered it. But 30% of the gross? That was out of the question. Peterson, however, was resolute. There will still be plenty to earn. Young people shouldn't be so arrogant. Wyatt poured Peterson a glass of scotch. Director, can we discuss the percentage a little more? His tone was deferential, almost pleading. But Peterson just shook his head. That's non-negotiable. The words died in Wyatt's throat. Seeing Wyatt fall silent, Peterson wasn't worried at all. He felt he had everything under control. Whether Wyatt agreed or not, he wouldn't lose. Wyatt just sat there, watching Peterson eat heartily and sip his expensive scotch. After a long time, Wyatt's face turned grim. Director, It looks like we won't be able to reach an agreement tonight. Peterson smiled. Why don't you think it over? No need. 30% is impossible. Wyatt stood up to leave. Peterson didn't try to stop him. Outside the restaurant, Wyatt walked all the way to the subway station. After buying a ticket and boarding the train, he opened his phone. He sent all the photos Leo had secretly taken of Peterson and his mistress, then immediately blocked him. In the restaurant's private room, Peterson was still enjoying his meal when his phone buzzed. He casually picked it up. When he saw the 5 or 6 images from Wyatt, he felt like he'd been struck by lightning. He froze in his seat. His face flushed red as he typed a message to Wyatt. Where did you get these photos? He saw the message failed to send. He realized Wyatt had blocked him. Son of a bitch. Peterson slammed his glass on the floor. He stood up and paced back and forth in the room a dozen times before finding Wyatt's number in his call history and dialing it directly. But, hello, the person you're calling is unavailable. Please try again later. Hello, the person you're calling is unavailable. Please try again later. Hello, the person you're calling is unavailable. Please try again later. Wyatt got back to his dorm, chatted with Cece for half an hour, and then fell soundly asleep. Director Peterson, however, didn't sleep a wink. He'd been married for 20 years. He had a son in high school and a daughter in elementary school. He had a stable job and a happy family, the envy of many. But if his affair was exposed, everything he had would vanish in an instant. His family, his job, even his friends would look at him with disdain. Peterson tossed and turned all night. The next morning, he skipped breakfast and drove frantically to the university. Rushing into his office, he rummaged through his drawer and found the business card Wyatt had given him. He opened Facebook and scanned the QR code to send a friend request. Half an hour later, the request was accepted. Peterson typed, "You little bastard, you set me up?" He was about to hit send, but then he remembered how Wyatt had blocked him the moment he'd walked out of the restaurant. He quickly deleted the words and composed a new message. "What do you want?" Wyatt replied quickly, "I'm a simple guy. I treat people how they treat me. Since you decided to treat me like a sucker, I had no choice but to use some dirty tricks." Peterson, cut the crap. Delete those photos right now. Wyatt, I should delete them just because you say so? Who do you think you are? Wyatt, you think I won't print these out and hand them out like flyers on your campus tomorrow? Wyatt, you fucking asshole. I gave you a little respect, and you really thought I was an idiot. Staring at the 3 consecutive messages, Peterson was stunned. He couldn't believe that the young man who had been so politely calling him director just 2 days ago was capable of saying such things. He remembered clearly that he had worn the clothes in the photo just last week. The photos were taken recently. He had these photos before he even came to see me. That meant all his courtesy over the past 2 days had been an act. The thought of Wyatt possessing such cunning at his age sent a chill down Peterson's spine. His tone softened immediately. He typed, "So what do you want now?" "Wyatt, I want my company's vending machines installed on your campus before the end of the month. I'll pay for the space and electricity, but there will be no commission. As for the photos, I won't delete them, but I can guarantee they won't be leaked." Peterson, and why should I believe you? Wyatt, don't take everyone for a fool. If I said I deleted them, would you believe me? And if I really did delete them, what's to stop you from screwing me over later? Wyatt, as long as my vending machines are on your campus, you staying in your position as director of logistics is good for me. I have no reason to ruin your reputation. Wyatt, of course you could always go for broke. Hire some thugs to beat me up and force me to delete the photos. But I don't respond well to threats. If someone really tried to rough me up, the first thing I do is hit the ground and play the victim. That exact thought had crossed Peterson's mind last night. His cousin knew plenty of street toughs. But after reading Wyatt's last message, the idea vanished completely. He knew it would do him no good. Peterson made his decision quickly. He typed back, "Fine, I'll arrange it. Tell me the installation locations. You can come install them by next Friday." Wyatt, good. Wyatt, pleasure doing business with you. Peterson was still furious, but he had no better option. What he couldn't figure out was how the hell Wyatt had managed to get those photos. He was so careful every single time. With Leo's university settled, Wyatt planned to go over on Friday to finalize the machine locations and celebrate Leo's birthday. As for the Brookside campus, he'd send Chris and Jessica. They were partners, after all. He couldn't do everything himself. The forecast called for thunderstorms on Saturday, and he still had to go to the factory to order the new machines. He wouldn't have time to see Cece. He pulled out his phone and gave her a heads up. "I've got some stuff to do on Saturday, so I can't come see you. Can I visit on Sunday instead?" Cece saw the message, but didn't reveal her own plan to visit him. She just replied, "I'm busy this weekend, too." Wyatt, how can you be busy? Cece, I have my own things to do. Wyatt, like what? Cece, not telling you. Wyatt, Then I'm getting mad. Cece, whatever. Wyatt, if you don't tell me, I'm telling your mom to ask you. Cece, you're unbelievable. She made up an excuse. I have a project for a class. The professor wants us to form a band. I'm rehearsing with Isabel and the others this weekend. Wyatt, okay, fine. Cece teased him. There's a really cute guy in the band, too. Wyatt, how can there be other cute guys in your eyes besides me? Cece, there are plenty of guys cuter than you. Wyatt, I'm jealous. Wyatt, you just wait. I'm calling your mom right now to tell her you've fallen for someone else. Cece nearly laughed out loud at his message, but when he didn't reply for a while, she worried he'd actually done it. She quickly typed, hello, Cece. Dork, I was just teasing you. Cece, if you called my mom, you are so dead. Wyatt, then promise to be my girlfriend. Cece, no. Wyatt, then I'll ask again tomorrow. Cece, whatever. They went back and forth, chatting happily until after 10 o'clock before saying goodnight. The moment Wyatt put his phone down, he fell into a deep sleep. Cece, however, stayed up, holding her phone. She opened her map app, typed in the name of Wyatt's university, and started studying the route. Take the J train from Canal Street. Transfer ut. Then get off at, and walk 1 mile from the 4th exit. She murmured the directions softly, as if memorizing them. With her terrible sense of direction, she was terrified of getting on the wrong train. It was late. Her 3 roommates were already asleep. Cece tucked her phone under her pillow and slowly closed her eyes. The thought of seeing that dork the day after tomorrow brought a small smile to her lips. She could already picture his shocked expression. Smiling, she drifted off and had a sweet dream. What you think about by day, you dream of by night. As soon as his classes ended at noon on Friday, Wyatt rushed over to Riverwood Tech. After meeting up with Leo, they started mapping out the vending machine locations. One machine was essential at the entrance to each academic building. Others had to be placed in the library, the student activity center, and the gym. Any other high-traffic areas also needed machines. All told, they needed about 35 units. Wyatt noted down all the locations and sent the list directly to Director Peterson. By the time Wyatt and Leo made it to the cafeteria for lunch, it was nearly 3 in the afternoon, but thankfully, there was still food being served. They found a table, and Wyatt gave his instructions while they ate. Once Peterson gives the green light, I'll have the factory guys come install them. You'll be the point of contact. As soon as the machines are in, this campus is all yours to manage. I'll pay you $5,000 a month. You can hire a couple of part-timers to help you out. How much you pay them is up to you. $5,000? That's so much. Wyatt smiled. It's not that much. But don't go blowing it all. Leo sighed. I don't have anywhere to spend it. I don't like going out alone. I spend maybe $1,000 a month here at school, max. Then save it. Leo asked curiously. Wyatt, how much are you making a month now? Don't ask. I don't want to crush your spirit. Damn it. In high school, we were neck and neck. How did the gap get so big after just a few months of college? Wyatt said with a perfectly straight face, right now, you're in the minor leagues, and I'm in the majors. By the time you graduate and see how the world really works, looking at me will be like a gnat looking at the sky. Asshole! Leo, incensed, stabbed his chopsticks into Wyatt's bowl and stole his hot dog, chewing it angrily. After covering all the necessary details, Wyatt headed back to his own campus. The round trip took nearly 3 hours. In the fresh market, Jessica, just out of class, was sitting in front of the computer. She was mimicking Wyatt, clicking away on the calculator, trying to tally the week's total sales. Wyatt walked up behind her and smiled. I do the books every day. You don't have to come here every evening to do it again. Without looking up, Jessica said, I don't trust you, okay? Wyatt just laughed, deciding not to press his luck. In truth, it wasn't that she didn't trust him. She just enjoyed the process. To her, every number on the calculator was money, money that filled her with hope for the future. Everything was moving in the right direction. On Saturday morning, the sky was overcast. The wind rustled the leaves, making a dry, whispering sound. After waking Chris, Wyatt and he went to the vending machine factory. Since they had worked together before, the process was smooth. They were in and out in half an hour, having paid a $4,000 deposit for 70 new machines. Half were bound for the Brookside campus, the other half for Riverwood Tech. As they left the factory and boarded the bus back to campus, a deafening clap of thunder echoed across the sky, followed immediately by a torrential downpour. Good thing we left when we did, or we'd be drenched. Yeah, this rain doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. On Saturday, Cece woke up early. After washing up and putting on a bit of light makeup, she slung her bag over her shoulder, put on a face mask, and left the dorm alone. Once outside, she began silently reciting the route to Wyatt's university. Go to the subway, take the train toward. One stop, then transferred to the J line. 10 minutes later, she was at the station. Since it was early, there were still plenty of seats. She found one and waited. After one stop, she promptly transferred to the J train. She had 14 stops to go on this line. Cece put on her headphones to listen to music, but as the train stopped at station after station, it grew more and more crowded. She was gradually pushed into a corner. A thought popped into her head. If only that dork were here. If Wyatt were here, he would be standing in front of her, creating a space for her, keeping anyone from getting too close. With him here, she wouldn't be crammed into a corner like this. But the thought of seeing him soon pushed the complaints away. Wyatt had already made the hour-plus trip to see her so many times, never once complaining. Every time she saw him, he was just standing under her dorm, smiling foolishly. Cece thought the journey would be smooth, but disaster struck. She was supposed to get off at her destination, but crammed in the corner, she couldn't see the station signs inside the car. The noise was so loud, she couldn't hear the announcements. She missed her stop. Cece rushed off the train and frantically called Isabel. When she answered, Cece's voice was full of distress. "Isabel, I missed my stop. What'd I do now?" Isabel's voice was instantly calming. It's okay, I do that all the time. Just go to the other side and take the train going in the opposite direction." "Can I just get on?" "Yeah, your metro car will still work." "Oh, where are you going anyway?" Cece said quietly. "I came to see Wyatt." "Okay, well, call me if you need anything else." "I will." After waiting for 2 minutes, Cece boarded the return train, her eyes glued to the station map overhead. When the train finally stopped at the right station, she bolted out. Cece opened her map app, typed in the university's name, and followed the navigation out of the station. She was only a mile from Wyatt's campus. The app said it was a 17-minute walk. The thought of seeing him soon began to lift her spirits, but she had only walked for a few minutes when a loud clap of thunder made her jump. She instinctively quickened her pace, but it was too late. A few seconds later, the sky opened up. Cece didn't have an umbrella. She was soaked in an instant. The cold rain lashed down on her, and a wave of self-pity washed over her. Why was it so hard for her to do one simple thing? She huddled under the awning of a bus stop, but the wind blew sheets of rain onto her anyway. Looking at the suddenly empty street, her heart ached, and her eyes began to well up. She pulled out her phone and dialed Wyatt's number. The moment she heard his voice, she couldn't hold it in any longer. "Wyatt," she choked out, "you have to come get me." Hearing the sob in her voice, Wyatt panicked. "Where are you?" Cece glanced at her map. "I'm at a bus stop on Minyao Road. Stay right there. I'm coming." The moment Wyatt heard she was near his school, he bolted. He had just gotten back to campus, but he immediately jumped on his electric scooter and raced toward Minyao Road. Soon, he spotted her, soaked and shivering under the bus stop awning. The second she saw him, the floodgates opened. Tears mixed with the rain streaming down her face. "I got up at 6:30 today," she sobbed. "The subway was so crowded. I was standing by the door, but I got pushed into a corner, and then I missed my stop. I was planning to come see you on Monday." "Why? Why does it have to be like this? Wyatt, am I so stupid?" Wyatt shook his head and pulled her into a tight hug. "It's okay," he said softly. "Don't cry. I'm here." Cece sniffled, burying her head in his chest. As the thunder rumbled, the downpour intensified. The moment Wyatt got the call, he had grabbed his scooter and rushed over without an umbrella. It was impossible to hold one while riding in a storm like this. Cece was soaked to the bone, and Wyatt was just as drenched. Once Cece's emotions began to settle, he took her small, cold hand. "This rain isn't letting up anytime soon," he said softly. "Hold your jacket over your head. I'm taking you to a hotel, okay?" Cece nodded. As Wyatt turned to get a scooter, she quickly wiped her tears away. She couldn't even remember the last time she'd cried. She walked over and sat on the back of the scooter. As he started driving, she quietly pulled her jacket forward, trying to shield him from the rain. Wyatt noticed the small gesture. He shouted over the storm, "Just worry about yourself. I'm fine." Cece silently pulled her jacket back. "Speed bump ahead. Hold on tight." He was riding fast. As they hit the first speed bump, the scooter jolted violently, and Cece's head nearly slammed into his back. With one hand holding her jacket, she tentatively wrapped the other around his side. When they hit the second speed bump, she instinctively hugged him tight. Wyatt hadn't been to a gym, but at his age, any guy who wasn't overweight had a hint of abs. The palm of Cece's hand was pressed against his stomach, separated only by a thin t-shirt. She could feel the firm shape of his muscles. She wanted to let go, but that felt too deliberate. So, she just bit her lip and pretended nothing had happened. There were plenty of hotels nearby, but Wyatt found one a little nicer and closer to the school. He parked by the entrance and led Cece into the lobby. "Hi, one room, please." 2 twin beds or a king? Before Wyatt could answer, the other front desk clerk shot her colleague a look. Definitely a king. Don't you have any sense? The first clerk smiled and handed Wyatt a key card. That'll be a $100 deposit and $80 for the room. We're staying for 2 nights. Wyatt paid the total with a scan of his phone and took the key card upstairs. He swiped the card and opened the door. The room was reasonably clean. Seeing that Cece's clothes were still dripping, he said quickly, "Did you bring a change of clothes?" Cece nodded. "Then go take a hot shower right away," Wyatt urged. "Don't catch a cold." Cece mumbled an okay, grabbed 2 articles of clothing from her bag, and ducked into the bathroom. She turned on the shower, and hot water sprayed out, quickly filling the room with steam. She peeled off her wet clothes, and the warmth of the water on her skin was a huge relief. As her mind cleared, she thought about the hug at the bus stop and the hotel clerk's comment. Her face instantly flushed. Is he actually going to stay here tonight? Her imagination started running wild. It took Cece half an hour to emerge from the bathroom. The change of clothes she brought was thin. It would have been fine if it hadn't rained, but the storm had caused the temperature to drop several degrees. Wyatt had already turned on the heat, however, so she didn't feel cold. "Come here." Wyatt beckoned her over, picking up the hairdryer he'd just used. Remembering that he had dried her hair for her once before, Cece walked over without protest. "Why is your face so red? You don't have a fever, do you?" Wyatt looked at her and placed his hand on her forehead, then tested his own. "The water was just too hot," Cece explained quickly. "As long as you're not sick. Sit here." Cece turned and sat down. Wyatt stood behind her, lifting her long hair and blow-drying it from the roots down. "You can't do this again," he said, his voice a gentle scolding. "I was out this morning. When you called, I had just gone back to campus. If I hadn't been back, I might not have been able to get to you in time. Your mom told me over and over to take care of you. If something happened to you because of me, she'd kill me." Cece pouted. "You talk too much. You stay here in the hotel this afternoon. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go back and take a shower, and I'll bring you some food." "Okay." He fell silent, focusing on drying her hair. After 7 or 8 minutes, he had finished with her waterfall of long hair. He unplugged the dryer, glanced down, and started nagging again. "Why are you still barefoot? Go put on some socks." "I'm not cold," Cece retorted. Just then, her phone rang. It was Isabel, calling to check if she had found Wyatt after the thunderstorm. Cece sat on the couch and answered. Wyatt walked over to the bed and opened Cece's bag. Inside was a collection of things. Her phone, wet wipes, tissues, makeup. He quickly found a pair of soft, white, lace-trimmed socks. They felt nothing like his own, which were always stiff no matter how many times he washed them. He took the socks and sat down next to Cece on the couch. While she was engrossed in her conversation, he reached out and grabbed her ankle. Cece's leg went rigid, an almost instinctive reaction. "What are you doing?" "Putting on your socks, so you don't get sick." His hand didn't let go. It was warm, and the heat spread from his palm to her foot, making her heart race. She looked down and whispered, "I can do it myself. Don't move. I'll do it." Wyatt rested her foot on his thigh. It was a beautiful foot, rosy from the shower, small and delicate like a cat's paw. He felt like he could hold it in one hand. Her toenails were coated with a clear polish, tiny and perfect. He just stared, not moving. Cece's face was beet red. In her nervousness, her toes curled up. Seeing him just looking, she said shyly, "What are you looking at?" Wyatt snapped back to reality. Gently, slowly, he slipped the lacy white socks onto her small feet. "You're still looking. Can't I look?" For a second there, I almost wanted to kiss them. Cece kicked him in the stomach. "Pervert," she scolded, her face burning. "Get away from me." Wyatt was shameless, his eyes still fixed on her calves. Cece quickly pulled her legs up, sitting cross-legged in a defensive posture that was utterly adorable. "Okay, I'm going back to the dorm to shower and change. I'll bring you food later. I'll text you when I'm at the door. Don't open it for anyone else. I know, if you get cold, turn up the heat. I know I like you." "I know." Cece caught herself, her face turning crimson. "Wyatt, you're a jerk." By the time he left the hotel, the thunderstorm had eased into a light drizzle. Wyatt rode his scooter back to campus, rushed into his dorm, and grabbed a set of clean clothes. He also snagged Chris's campus card from his desk and headed straight for the showers. "Where'd you go in a storm like that?" Alex asked from his bed. "My girlfriend came to see me," Wyatt said. "For real?" "Duh. Why else would I go out in that downpour? Am I crazy?" The thought of Wyatt's girlfriend coming to see him in such terrible weather filled Alex with a pang of envy. Wyatt was in and out of the shower in 5 minutes. He dried his hair with Chris's hairdryer, decided a long-sleeved shirt wasn't warm enough, and pulled a jacket from his closet. Thinking that Cece hadn't brought any warm clothes, and that tomorrow would be even colder. He found a gray hoodie and stuffed it into a bag. Finally, he changed his shoes, grabbed an umbrella, and headed for the strip of cheap eats just off campus. He had eaten with Cece enough to know her tastes. He found a casual eatery with a good patio, ordered 3 dishes, and got 2 orders of rice to go. Then he made his way back to the hotel. "I'm here." He sent Cece a text. She immediately sat up from the couch. She took 2 steps, realized she'd forgotten her shoes, and hurried back to put them on before opening the door. "What took you so long?" she demanded. "The trip takes time, showering takes time, and they have to cook the food," Wyatt explained. "I don't feel like I was gone that long." Cece wrinkled her nose. "It's been an hour and 7 minutes. Wyatt laughed. "You were counting how long I was gone." I was not." Wyatt set the takeout containers on the coffee table and opened them one by one. Cece was genuinely hungry and started eating right away. Wyatt sat cross-legged opposite her and began eating as well. "I checked the weather. It's supposed to rain more this afternoon, but it'll be sunny tomorrow. I can show you around my school then." "Okay, you should tie your hair back. It's about to go in your mouth. You do it." Cece held out her hand. A black elastic hair tie was looped around her wrist. Wyatt took the hair tie, walked behind her, and gathered her hair into a ponytail. As he sat back down, his phone buzzed on the table. He picked it up. It was a message from Miranda, Cece's mom. "Miranda, Wyatt, I saw the temperature dropped in the city today. Make sure Cece wears enough clothes." "Wyatt, I will." "Miranda, did you go see her this week?" "Wyatt, no, I didn't." "Wyatt, but she came to see me today." The silly girl even missed her subway stop. Back in her office, Miranda was speechless. She knew her daughter well. A trip of over an hour. If their relationship was just casual, Cece would never have gone to see Wyatt on her own initiative. Miranda knew they were moving toward being a couple, but she hadn't expected it to happen this fast. "Are you two together now?" Wyatt was about to reply, "We're at a hotel eating," but he thought better of it and changed his response to, "Yes, we're having a meal now." "Miranda, okay, I understand. You stay warm too." "Wyatt, will do." Wyatt put his phone down. Cece looked up. "Who was that?" "Our mom." Cece blinked, then asked again, "Seriously, who was it?" "I told you, it was our mom." From the look on his face, Cece guessed he had been talking to her mother. She immediately became flustered. "My mom is my mom, not your mom." Right. I was premature. I'll call her our mom later." "You." Cece was at a complete loss with him. Exasperated, she picked up a piece of fatty pork she had just bitten into and dropped it in Wyatt's bowl. Wyatt looked at the fat with a grimace. "What? You don't like it?" Cece glared at him. "It's just, I don't eat fat," Wyatt said pitifully. "Eat it. Now." Wyatt sighed, picked it up, chewed twice, and swallowed whole. Cece harumphed, finally letting him off the hook. They finished lunch at 2. Wyatt threw the containers in the trash outside and came back to find Cece leaning against the couch, playing on her phone. He handed her the hoodie he'd brought. "What's this?" "It's thicker. Wear it when you go out. It's gotten really cold." Cece took the hoodie and looked it over. It was obviously a size, or too big. Intrigued, she sat up straight and pulled it on right in front of him. On Wyatt, it was a perfect fit. On her, it had an oversized, surprisingly cute look. She stood up and did a little spin. "Does it look good?" she asked playfully. Wyatt was all smiles. "You look good in anything." Cece scoffed, pretending to be dissatisfied with the answer, but the smile in her eyes gave her away. Wyatt sat down next to her and started scrolling through his Facebook and Instagram feeds. He didn't have many other apps on his phone besides social media, music, and videos. Cece started watching a show, but the couch seemed uncomfortable. She shifted positions 4 or 5 times, first sitting upright, then leaning back, then sitting cross-legged. Finally, she slid to one side of the couch, her back against the armrest, her small, sock-clad feet resting against Wyatt's thigh. After one episode, she started to feel drowsy. She had slept too little last night and woken up too early, and the hour-and-a-half journey had taken its toll. Her eyelids felt heavy. "Sleepy?" Wyatt asked softly. Cece nodded. "Go lie down on the bed for a while." Cece climbed off the couch, slipped on her slippers, and pulled back the covers on the bed. Just as she lay down, she heard Wyatt get up from the couch. She propped herself up again. "Where are you going?" Wyatt pointed to the bathroom. "Just going to the restroom." "Are you going to leave later?" Wyatt smiled. "I'm not leaving. I'll stay right here and watch over you, okay?" Cece pouted. "If I wake up and you're not here, you're dead," she whispered. "I won't leave. I keep my promises." Only then did she lie back down. After using the restroom, Wyatt sat on the couch, watching over her. While she slept, he couldn't resist taking a few pictures of her peaceful face. At one point, Cece called out his name twice. Wyatt answered both times, but when he went to check on her, he saw she was still fast asleep. She was talking in her dreams. He smiled, pulled the blanket up a little higher, and sat there for the entire afternoon. Cece woke up a little after 7 in the evening. It was already dark outside. She opened her eyes, her gaze hazy at first, then slowly clearing. She turned her head to look at the couch and saw Wyatt still sitting there. A small smile touched her lips. "What time is it?" she asked. Wyatt's phone had died long ago. He was feeling tired himself. "Should be around 6 or 7, he replied. "My phone's dead." Cece threw back the covers and got out of bed. "I have a charger in my bag," she said casually. "I know," Wyatt said. "It's already charging. Looking at my phone for too long hurts my eyes. Are you hungry?" "Not really." Cece took the hair tie from her wrist, held it in her teeth, and gathered her hair back before tying it up again. Wyatt pointed out the window. "The rain has stopped. Want to go for a walk and grab a bite to eat?" "Okay." Cece put on her shoes, and they left the hotel together. This part of the city wasn't as bustling as other areas, and after a full day of rain, there weren't many people out. They walked side by side down the sidewalk. "So why did you suddenly decide to come see me today?" Wyatt finally asked. Cece paused, then stammered. Well, I just came to see. You can't just show up unannounced like that again. You can't even tell east from west. If you got lost, I wouldn't even know where to look for you." "I wouldn't get lost. Next time you come, you have to give me a heads up." Cece wanted to say, "I did it on purpose to surprise you," but she couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. Hearing his bossy tone, she deliberately slowed her pace by half a step and quietly stepped on his shadow, a small act of rebellion. "Want a breakfast burrito?" Cece quickly pulled her foot back and followed his gaze. "Yes, boss, 2 breakfast burritos, please. With hot dogs and chicken strips. Less potato in one, more in the other." "You got it." The vendor was fast. In a few minutes, he had wrapped up 2 burritos and handed them to Wyatt. Wyatt gave the smaller one to Cece. Seeing him start eating, she took a small bite of her own. "How is it?" "Delicious. Never had one before." Cece nodded. "My mom doesn't let me eat street food. Your mom is so strict." The streetlights stretched their shadows long behind them. The moon, having escaped the clouds, had fallen into the small puddles left by the rain, creating dozens of tiny moons. As people passed by, the puddles rippled, distorting the reflections. The night was quiet. Wyatt wandered aimlessly down the street. When they reached the end of the block, they turned around in unspoken agreement and headed back the way they came. "Watch out." Wyatt grabbed Cece's arm as she nearly stepped into a puddle. She looked down and walked around it, but Wyatt didn't let go of her arm. His hand, which had been holding her wrist, slowly slid down until it was holding her hand. Cece's face flushed, and her hand seemed to freeze. Wyatt didn't say a word. Their palms pressed together, their fingers intertwined, and finally, their hands were clasped tightly. Having slept all afternoon, Cece was wide awake when they got back to the hotel. The feeling of holding Wyatt's hand all the way back had her nerves on edge, her mind buzzing. Wyatt checked his phone and saw it was already past 8. "It's getting late," he said. "I should head back. I'll come get you in the morning." Hearing this, Cece felt a small pang of disappointment. If he left, she would be alone. The thought of spending the night in a hotel by herself made her a little anxious. "Don't use the kettle in the room. If you're thirsty, just drink the bottled water. After I leave, double lock the door. You can hang a glass on the doorknob for extra security. If someone slips one of those little escort cards under the door, just ignore it and throw it away. Anything else, you call me immediately. Are you listening to me? What are you thinking about?" Cece just nodded slightly, not saying a word. Wyatt saw through her. "You don't want me to go, do you?" he teased. Cece remained silent. Wyatt knew that for a girl like her, silence at a moment like this was a clear yes. "But this is a king bed," he said with a grin. "Just one bed, and the sofa only seats 2. We can't sleep in the same bed, can we?" "No way." Cece interrupted, her face bright red before he could even finish. "Well, how about I get another room? Whatever. Whatever equals yes." Wyatt didn't cheap out. He took his phone downstairs and booked another room. A minute later, he was back, proudly brandishing a new key card. "Rooms booked. It's right across the hall." "Oh, a night in there costs $80, you know." "Well, what do you want then?" Wyatt's face broke into a mischievous grin. "How about a little reward?" Cece had already figured out his game. She knew if she asked what kind of reward he wanted, he would just try to pull something, so she shook her head firmly. No reward. With that, she slipped on her slippers and headed for the bathroom to wash her feet and put on a foot mask. "What are you doing?" "Washing my feet. Wanting to help." "Get lost, you perv." After her retort, she disappeared in the bathroom. Wyatt was about to follow when his phone, inconveniently, started ringing in his pocket. It was a video call he couldn't ignore. It was from his mom. Wyatt sat on the bed and answered, Sarah, son, have you eaten? Wyatt, yeah, I ate. Sarah, it's raining here, and the temperature is about to drop. How is it over there? Wyatt, it's getting colder here too. Sarah, I told you to bring more warm clothes when you left after the holiday, but you never listen. Wyatt, Mom, I can buy my own clothes. Don't worry about it. Wyatt, where's Dad? Sarah, hiding in the bathroom smoking. That man is something else. He stole money from my purse to buy cigarettes again today. He thinks I don't know. Wyatt, he's been smoking for decades. He's not going to quit now. Just let him be. Sarah, I can't be bothered with him anymore. Sarah, hey? Sarah, where are you right now? This doesn't look like your dorm. Wyatt, I'm at a hotel. He had just gotten the words out when the bathroom door opened and Cece poked her head out. Wyatt, come help me with the hot water. It's freezing. Sarah's eyes went wide. She sat bolt upright, staring at Wyatt. Wyatt tossed his phone on the bed and hurried into the bathroom. Stunned, Sarah quickly ended the video call. Just then, David came out of the bathroom. Seeing his wife's shocked expression, he asked dumbly, What's wrong? I thought I heard you talking to our son. David, yeah, our son took a girl to a hotel. What? Sunlight streamed through the window, falling across the head of the bed. Outside, the occasional chirp of a bird could be heard. The quiet streets of last night were once again bustling with activity now that the rain had passed. Wyatt stretched and got out of bed. He brushed his teeth, and remembering that his toothbrush in the dorm was a couple of months old, he pocketed the complimentary one from the hotel. After getting dressed, he walked out of his room and knocked on the door across the hall. A few seconds later, Cece opened it. She had just finished getting ready herself. She put on her shoes, and they left the hotel together. Where are we going for breakfast? Cece asked. Wyatt smiled. The school cafeteria. Cece didn't object. She wanted to see Wyatt's school today anyway, to see the campus, the vending machines he was so proud of, his fresh market, and most importantly, she wanted to see if the beautiful female business partner he talked about was real. On a weekend morning, the cafeteria was less crowded than usual. Most students were still sleeping in, many having adopted the bad habit of skipping breakfast. But when Wyatt and Cece walked in, they still drew a lot of attention. Wyatt was only mildly famous on campus. Most people knew he ran the market, but not that the vending machines were also his business. The real reason for all the stares was Cece. She was wearing Wyatt's hoodie. Though it was a bit big, the oversized look had its own charm. A hoodie and jeans were a common outfit this time of year, but you'd be hard-pressed to find another girl on campus as tall and beautiful as Cece. It was no surprise. Even her roommates, Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie, would easily be considered top-tier beauties at this university. Whispers broke out among the male students. Who's that girl? I don't know, but she definitely doesn't go here. Isn't this Wyatt guy with Jessica Evans? Gossip is that Jessica just invested in his market. They're not actually dating. No, but seriously, why is this guy always surrounded by gorgeous women? He should be drawn and quartered. Definitely. Wyatt led Cece to the service counter, where a dazzling array of breakfast items was on display. Steamed buns, dumplings, fried dough sticks, shumai. What do you want to eat? Wyatt asked with a smile. Cece, who always struggled with choices, just shook her head and said, whatever. Wyatt had anticipated this. He made the decision for her. Annie, I'll have this, and this 2 of each, please. And 2 soy milks. $22. Card, please. You got it. Cece had already found a spot by a pillar. Wyatt divided the breakfast onto 2 trays and set one in front of her. She stuck a straw in her soy milk, but hesitated before eating. I can't eat all this. Just start, Wyatt replied. Eat what you can. I'll finish the rest. Reassured, Cece began to eat. Though the sun was out, a strong wind was blowing, and the temperature was much lower than a few days ago. Some less hardy students were already wearing light down jackets. After breakfast, Wyatt and Cece started their tour of the campus from the main gate. This is Founders Plaza, next to the gym. Over there are the administration building and the library. Where do you have classes? There are 6 academic buildings. My major is usually in Building 5. I'll take you. And see, this is my vending machine project. There are no classes today, but usually this area is packed with people buying drinks. This is the classroom where I usually have class. The university classrooms weren't locked on weekends. Wyatt led Cece inside. She looked around and asked, Where do you sit? Wyatt pointed to a seat in the back row. Right there. Cece walked over to his seat, pulled out the chair, and sat down. Seeing this, Wyatt pulled out the adjacent chair and sat down as well. 2 people in an empty classroom. For a moment, neither of them spoke. After a minute, Cece started to feel uncomfortable. The atmosphere was too intimate, and she was afraid Wyatt would try something. Holding his hand last night had felt like a pleasant electric shock running through her. They had hugged, they had held hands. She was afraid he would make a bolder move. And what if she just gave in? The thought made her feel warm all over. She quickly stood up. Where's your market? I want to see it. Wyatt smiled. It's over by the food truck strip. I'll take you. They left the building and walked down the main path. After 7 or 8 minutes, Wyatt stopped. Cece stopped too, because she had seen the sign, Cece's Fresh Market. Though she already knew he had named the store after her, hearing about it and seeing it with her own eyes were two different things. Come on, Wyatt said. My roommates should be in the store. I'll introduce you. Cece immediately straightened her clothes before following him inside. The moment they entered, everyone in the store turned to look at them. Valerie, their senior hire, was studying in the library, but Sam, Chris, and Alex were there, as was his partner, Jessica. Seeing them all frozen, Wyatt was about to make the introductions when Jessica spoke first. How could you possibly fall for someone as ugly as him? Wyatt's face darkened. Jessica, you better watch your mouth. My girlfriend is 100 times prettier than you. Jessica rolled her eyes. I was asking your girlfriend, not you. Wyatt was speechless. So I'm the ugly one? From their exchange, Cece gathered 2 pieces of information. The bad news. There really was a beautiful girl in Wyatt's life. The good news. This girl clearly had no interest in him. As she was processing this, she didn't even realize she had tacitly accepted the title of Wyatt's girlfriend. Of all the people there, Alex was the most shocked. Because, holy crap, the girl on Wyatt's phone wallpaper was his actual girlfriend. What kind of good karma did this son of a bitch rack up in a past life? Seeing Cece remain silent, Wyatt gave her a gentle tug. She snapped out of it and smiled. Hi, everyone. Wyatt held her hand and cleared his throat. A formal introduction. My girlfriend, Cece. This is Chris. This is Sam. This walking nature violation is Alex. And this one who doesn't know how to talk to people is Jessica. She and Chris are my partners. Cece smiled and nodded, a silent greeting to them all. To Wyatt's surprise, while she had struggled a little when they held hands last night, today, in front of so many people, she didn't resist at all. She just gently scratched his palm with her finger. Itchy. Tingly. Cece was never a big talker, especially around strangers. After a simple greeting to Wyatt's roommates, she fell silent. Chris, Jessica, I need you two to go to the Brookside campus this afternoon and pick the spots for the vending machines, Wyatt said. I've already sorted things out at Riverwood Tech. We should be able to install them by next Friday. Jessica's eyes lit up. Really? Of course. Jessica was genuinely surprised. She knew that without her uncle's help, getting the machines into their own university wouldn't have been so easy. She didn't know what method Wyatt had used, but the news made her happy. It meant she would earn more money and get one step closer to her dream of buying a house. I can handle the Brookside campus by myself, she said. Chris smiled. Well, that saves me a trip. You should find someone you know, or at least someone responsible, to be our campus agent there, Wyatt added, to help with restocking, maintenance, and customer service. Okay, no problem. Sam, Alex, I'll transfer you your pay for October in a bit. Oh, and one more thing. Wyatt walked over to Sam and showed him his phone. The financial aid application I submitted for you last month was approved. Your advisor messaged me last night. The money should be deposited by the end of this month. I think you got the second tier, about $500 a year. Thank you. Wyatt gently bumped Sam's shoulder with his fist. If you say thank you again, I swear I'll punch you. Sam just smiled and said nothing more. He knew Wyatt had pushed him to apply and had even helped him polish the application essay, turning it into a much more persuasive piece. Wyatt had submitted all the paperwork for him, and Sam hadn't thought about it since. He hadn't expected it to go through so quickly and suspected Wyatt had pulled some strings. After giving out his instructions, Wyatt took Cece's hand and led her out of the store. They had just left when Cece tried to pull her hand away, but Wyatt held on tight. She turned to look at him, her eyes asking, "Why aren't you letting go?" "They're definitely still watching us from inside," Wyatt whispered. Cece didn't quite believe him. She peeked back over her shoulder, and, sure enough, the whole group was staring at them. She quickly whipped her head around and pulled Wyatt away, escaping their line of sight. Once they rounded the corner, Cece yanked her hand back. After being held for so long, her palm was sweaty. Wyatt grinned. "Your hand is so soft, like it doesn't have any bones." Cece raised her hand as if to hit him, but Wyatt didn't even flinch, just kept smiling foolishly. She was powerless against him. She took a tissue from her pocket, wiped her palm, and asked, "What's for lunch?" "Remember during boot camp, I told you about that amazing spicy stir-fry place near campus? And how they have the best free plum juice?" "Of course I remember. We're going there for lunch. I always keep my promises. And after that, I'm taking you back to your school. I don't want you going back too late. What if you miss your stop again? Cece huffed. Once bitten, twice shy. I won't miss my stop again. You're so clueless. What if you do? I'm not talking to you anymore. Cece stomped off. Wyatt quickly called after her. You're going the wrong way. It's this way. She turned around angrily and marched in the other direction. Wyatt hurried to catch up. Are you mad? No. Then why are you walking so fast? Stop following me. Go away. You're my girlfriend. Who else am I supposed to follow? I haven't agreed to that yet. You didn't say that back in the store. I was just trying to save you some face. You're that considerate of me. I am not. Okay, I was wrong. What were you wrong about? You tell me. You're asking me. I was wrong about everything. How about I get on my knees and apologize? Go on, kneel. In broad daylight, Cece didn't believe for a second he would actually do it. But the moment she said it, Wyatt walked in front of her, dropped to one knee, and made a heart shape with his hand. Cece, I like you. Be my girlfriend. Cece's face instantly turned bright red, her heart pounding. Get up. Get up right now. Only if you agree. Get up, and then we'll talk. First, say you agree. Cece stomped her foot lightly. Fine. I agree. Okay? Only then did Wyatt stand back up. Cece started walking quickly, muttering angrily, Jerk. All you know how to do is bully me. No one else noticed, but as Wyatt knelt to profess his feelings, Amber happened to be walking by on the other side of the street. She watched them walk away together, her brow furrowed in confusion. Isn't he dating Jessica Evans? How can he? Amber muttered to herself, a bold idea suddenly forming in her mind. Is Wyatt two-timing? At the spicy stir-fry restaurant, Wyatt and Cece found a table. When the waitress brought the menu, Wyatt ordered 2 combo meals. He saw Cece's face was still flushed. Why is your face so red? He asked, feigning ignorance. It's hot. It's 62 degrees and windy today. Shut up. I don't want to talk to you right now. Cece dug a wet wipe out of her bag and pressed it against her hot cheeks. Wyatt smiled. You don't have to be embarrassed. We were basically already dating. Nothing has to change. We'll be the same as we were before. You said it. Yep. With no dating experience, Cece had thought that making it official would change everything. Hearing Wyatt's words finally put her at ease, though a small part of her was still worried. She had a feeling he would go back on his word later. They spent half an hour finishing their lunch. After a short break, they headed back to the hotel. Wyatt helped her pack, then walked her to the subway station. J-line to the 12 train, transfer at Canal Street, get off at Union Square, and use the 7th exit. It's closest to your school. You got that. I know. Wear more clothes. Switch to a thicker blanket. It's almost winter. I know. Call me if you need anything. I'm your boyfriend now. Cece shot him a look, swiped her card at the turnstile, and went down the escalator to the platform. After waiting for only 3 minutes, the train arrived. Cece managed to squeeze on. It was just as crowded today, but learning from her last experience, she found a spot where she could see the station map. Still, the noise and smells of the crowded car were unpleasant. She didn't dare put in her headphones, afraid she would miss the announcements. Just then, someone tapped her on the shoulder from behind. Cece's brow furrowed. She quickly took half a step back and turned around, her guard up. The person who had tapped her was none other than Wyatt. He was holding onto a handrail, looking down at her with a smile. I was still worried about you being alone, he said, so I came with you. Cece quickly stepped forward, grabbed the corner of his jacket, and mumbled, You big jerk. A round trip. 3 hours. Standing the entire time. It was exhausting, but Wyatt could tell that Cece was happy, and to him, that made it all worthwhile. Instead of going back to the market, Wyatt went straight to his dorm. He took a quick shower and then used Chris's laptop to look over the sales reports from the past few days. It was clear that the vending machine business was off to a solid start. Soon, it would expand to 3 different boroughs of the city. Once Jessica's father, Charles Evans, came through, he could expand into the area around the major universities. He had never dreamed he'd have the chance to do business at a prestigious university like that. The market was bringing in a net profit of about $250 to $300 a day. After Chris's cut, Wyatt was still clearing a couple hundred himself. Once the vending machines were installed at the Brookside campus and Riverwood Tech, he conservatively estimated they would bring in at least $1,300 to $1,500 in net income per day. All told, Wyatt alone would be making over $25,000 a month. He knew that the U.S. stock market was on an upswing in late 2014. If he invested all his profits, his assets could break $500,000 by the end of the year. If I have $500,000, I could buy a car after winter break next year. Wyatt yawned, closed Chris's laptop, and was about to lie down when his phone buzzed with a new message. He opened it. The sender was Amber, someone he hadn't heard from a long time. Amber, Wyatt, are you free? Wyatt, what's up? Amber, I want to talk to you about something. Wyatt, now? Amber, yes. I'm waiting for you by the science labs. It's quiet here. Wyatt was confused. What could she want calling me out this late? He typed, if it's not important, can we talk tomorrow? I'm pretty tired. Amber, it's important. Wyatt replied, fine. I'm on my way. Wyatt left his dorm and walked toward the science labs. Amber was already waiting for him. Her outfit today was, as always, meticulously put together. A black leather beret, a brown bomber jacket, and a black miniskirt, this time paired with thick, over-the-knee socks. Over here, it was cold, and the campus was mostly empty. This area was even more deserted. Amber spotted him right away. Wyatt walked over and got straight to the point. Okay, what did you want to talk about? Amber was just as direct. I saw everything today. Saw what? Seeing Wyatt play dumb, Amber smirked. I saw what a player you are. You already have a girlfriend, but you're still too timing. After hearing the rumors about Wyatt and Jessica, Amber had been ready to give up. She knew she couldn't compete with Jessica. But today, seeing Wyatt being all lovey-dovey with another girl had rekindled her hope. Since you're already too timing, and I have a long-distance boyfriend I haven't broken up with yet, we're a perfect match. Wait, what are you talking about? Wyatt was getting confused. Amber was exasperated. Stop pretending. I told you, I saw it with my own eyes. This afternoon, you were with another girl. You even got down on one knee for her. Looking at Amber's expression, Wyatt felt like she had misunderstood something. He decided to test his theory. So, Amber smiled. So, Wyatt, would you mind having one more girlfriend? What do you mean by that? Wyatt asked, still playing dumb. Don't be dense, Amber said. You know what I mean. I think you've misunderstood something. Misunderstood. Amber's brow furrowed. Wyatt explained, I only have one girlfriend. Jessica, she's not my girlfriend. How is that possible? Everyone knows about you too. Wyatt laughed. Jessica is my business partner. We work together, so people see us together and assume we're dating. It's all just rumors. The girl you saw today, that's my girlfriend. Amber tensed up. So I did misunderstand. She had been ready to lay all her cards on the table, and now she had exposed herself completely. But she forced herself to remain calm. You're not lying to me, are you? I'll go ask Jessica to confirm. Of course not. Then, do you think I'm a terrible person now? I just really like you. Amber looked down, her voice pitiable. Wyatt smiled kindly. Liking someone isn't a crime, but thank you for the compliment. I'll keep this between us. I'm going back to bed. He knew that if he called her out, she would spend all night overthinking it and might even come hate him. It was better to say something she wanted to hear. They went to the same school. This way, future encounters wouldn't be awkward. Watching Wyatt walk away, Amber stomped her foot in frustration. She was furious with herself. I should have just asked Jessica first. Now she was the clown. She had even worn a matching lingerie set for tonight's meeting. All for nothing. When Wyatt got back to the dorm, Chris, Alex, and Sam were already back from the market. Seeing Wyatt walk in, Alex started in with a snide tone. Well, I thought someone wasn't coming home tonight. Before Wyatt could reply, Chris cut in with a laugh. Alex, if you're jealous, just say so. No need to be passive-aggressive. Jealous? Please, Alex scoffed. Haven't you guys ever heard the saying? A pretty face can be a man's downfall. You're burning the candle at both ends, my friend. It'll catch up to you. He looked at Wyatt. Sooner or later, your body's going to give out. Wyatt shot back. Yeah, well, it's a hell of a way to go. And I got plenty of candle to burn. I'm in my prime. What's there to be afraid of? Chris clutched his stomach, laughing so hard tears came to his eyes. Ha ha. A hell of a way to go. Alex, what? Stay away from Amber. What? Trust me on this. It's for your own good. Seeing how serious Wyatt was, Alex, for once, didn't argue. You decide. I've already given up on her. Some girls will ruin your life, Wyatt said. Others will bring you a lifetime of good luck. When you're looking for a relationship, you have to keep your eyes open. I feel like I'm never going to find a girlfriend, Alex lamented. Chris chuckled. At the beginning of the semester, weren't you calling yourself a master pickup artist? I was bluffing. There are tons of girls at this school, Wyatt offered. Just lower your standards a bit. It shouldn't be that hard to find someone. How do I lower my standards? Ugly is the new cute, man. Go for it.